What is up? What is up? Josh, dude, I was so tired yesterday, man.
100% zonked. It was bad.
But we got old Ninja Space talking about us being late. Dude, I'm never late. I don't know what you're talking about.
We on woman time, Ninja of Spades says. We're about to be.
We're about to be. If anybody's joining in, please, jump in the comments. We will respond to just about anything. But we were at USC the other day. I got there a little bit earlier, so I was there for the morning and did a little bit of work with Myron Gaines. Got him on the podcast, which is awesome, dude. Trying to make waves. Sometimes you can just do things, Josh. Sometimes you can just do things. We're going to be reacting to some of the back and forth that he had with some of the students. We're going to be reacting to maybe a little bit of the speech and then kind of tying that all together from the morning and the evening and go through some of this.
Yeah.
I think there's a little bit to be added to.
I think, we should probably tell them. So, like you said Myron Gaines was at USC, but he was doing a conference.
Fill him in.
For an event he called, what did he call it? Why Women Deserve Less. And obviously he's being very provocative. He has a lot of provocative ideas, but when you title something Why Women Deserve Less, you're going to get asses in seats. You're going to get people showing up. And ultimately, you're going to get people paying for the event. And it was, I didn't, like Zeb said, I was not there for the beginning event where he was kind of doing an outdoor Q&A type thing, questioning, like responses and whatnot. But I've seen a bunch of clips from them, and they were really funny. That's what we're going to watch a little bit of. Wow. Maybe I'm not totally untired yet, but a little bit of that from today. Zeb and I attended the event. He helped out. I kind of watched. Got to ask a question. It was super fun. It was a super fun time. You have fun?
Oh yeah, I had a good time, dude.
Yeah, and we got to meet him. Or
cool.
I mean, you already met him, but I got to meet him, which was super cool. He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, very, very charitable. Obviously, giving me a platform or coming on to my platform rather than, I wouldn't expect somebody of that with those numbers to do it. But dude, he's been all over the place, man.
You asked him to come on my radio show, and I was like so embarrassed because it was like, I get him wanting to come on a podcast, but coming on a radio show, he even said like, "Isn't it all boomers?" And I was like, "It totally is. You shouldn't do it." But he responded to me. He responded to me on Twitter.
Dude. I think he should just lay it out. Give you plausible deniability, but the boomers need to be reached too. We can't always bash them entirely. Sometimes we got to reach out, send out an olive branch.
It's getting to the point where I don't know if we can wait them out.
Yeah,
with modern medicine,
it's getting close. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get this thing set up. We're going to load in. Hopefully this works like I want it to. Boom, bang, pow.
Because when those messages came out originally and the allegations came out originally, it made Johnny Depp look terrible. I mean, he lost a deal with Pirates of the Caribbean, lost a lot of money, lost a lot of support. Both
I think this live stream started a little bit after he started talking, but most of the juicy stuff naturally is going to be in the, I guess, the debate, if you will, the back and forth with the students. So we're going to get that lined up and start on it if I can make this work.
In his career.
So you were there at this. Did I know there were no fights. You would have told me by now, but like, was there any altercations? Did anyone cry? Did anything get out of hand in any way?
Did anyone cry? I mean, there's tears shed.
Really?
I have to find that video too. That's a good one. But there was some chicks ran over to one of the staff that was there, I guess faculty, and they were saying, "Oh, dude, what'd they say?" They said, "Oh man, I'm gonna have to find it. If I wouldn't have come to this school if I known they were bringing hate speech." Dude, I got to find the clip.
Well, we can do that during a reaction, so we're not just sitting in front of the camera.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Talk to him, Josh. Talk to him.
So yeah, I did see, like I said earlier, I saw a bunch of clips from this, and it was really funny. Was it viral? I know we talked about it because we saw, we're from South Carolina, so we saw Nancy Mace. we get a lot of Nancy Mace news, but did it go viral, the clip of her where she did an event at USC and there was this transgender woman, so a man, showed up and started ranting at her, and then like Nancy Mace was like, like, does the word tranny offend you? And the tranny goes, yes, and she goes, tranny. It crashed out, tried to steal like a vase or something from the stage, like a potted plant.
Yep.
And that same person showed up at this event. I imagine we'll probably see.
Well, we can start off. I think he was one of the first ones. If I can get to it.
I saw that girl.
Lesbian. Let's see. Was it? I thought it was.
I guess not.
Anyway, all right. We'll jump on this thing. We're gonna start with this chick here.
Okay, so before we get started, was anyone like positive at this?
Yeah. There's a we'll get to her. She came in kind of a little bit open-minded, but there's a thing that you'll notice across this if you pay attention a little bit. The physiognomy is very telling on these people. And so we'll get to that. And so once that comes up, we'll kind of talk about that. But there's an obvious difference between or a similarity between how people look, how they present themselves, and how they think. And maybe we can knock this one out. We'll go to that one so we can go ahead and jump into it. Oh, that's not.
Hey, so I really think your ideology is interesting. How do I apply it to my lesbian relationships?
Okay. What is the goal? Is the goal to get married? Is the goal to have a serious long-term boyfriend that will, like, what's the goal?
It's to have a lesbian relationship.
Oh, well, you guys are useless to society, so.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
he's not
Ninja
wrong.
Space's physiognomy check in the chat.
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously correct here. Lesbianism, anything gay, queer, LGBTQIA, 18, 19 plus, two spirits, whatever they got going on nowadays, dude. It's more than useless. It's a burden on society, cancerous even. So Myron's exactly correct here, and I think he gets into some stuff later on. I was actually back there manning the cameras, and when this thing first started, I want to kind of feed him little talking points because I like little one-liners. But he gets into it here, but I had to lay off that because I didn't want to interrupt him too much.
Yeah.
It's not his fault that college kids are retarded, but they are.
Yeah, and that's something we were talking about then. I even brought this up with him where it's like, I graduated from college in 2019, so before COVID, and it was bad back then. And I almost like being away from like the type of gayness and like homosexual, like quite literally, just, I don't know if I can say the F word here, but like the faggotry that you see on campus. I almost like forgot how bad it was.
I don't know what the repercussion is going to be, but you can say it.
Said it. Well, but basically, yeah, it's crazy. And it's funny. Like I liked his take on that. Like I'm kind of echoing what you said, but basically it was like, yeah, when you think about like what is the personal, like the actual tangible goal of a relationship? It is to produce children. So
correct.
Homosexual relationships are ultimately meaningless.
Yeah, well, that's largely how we define marriage, with the ability to procreate by nature,
Right.
not by necessity.
Yeah,
And so you can't procreate.
it's like how
With same sex.
whether it's lesbian homosexual relationships or male homosexual relationships, they're not actually having sex. It's a cheap imitation of sex.
Correct.
Even when you like think about the male version of it,
Yeah.
it's the closest imitation, but it's still like a degenerate and brutal act that actually results in like medical problems. Not even AIDS, but like the older you get, the looser you get. Let's put it that. Let's put
Yeah.
it that way.
I mean, this isn't even the worst degenerate on to come up, but we'll finish this one up. We'll jump to a decent one, and then jump back to the degeneracy because it's rampant, dude. Dude, we were there. It was so bad, man. It's not how I remember college. My wife went to USC, and I don't know. It's just not the same. Maybe that's a reference thing that I can't see through, but it just I don't know. We've come along.
Then again,
how long ago was that? It's 2025. I guess it's been a little over 10 years.
we do have to admit, though, is most people, even conservative people, aren't quite on the same page as us when it comes to feminism, or Myron for that matter. So I can imagine why they would. They're getting there, but they're not all there yet. Like, it's not common. So
We'll cross
I
that
would
bridge in a
imagine
second.
that, like, a lot of the people we're seeing at this event, you are going to see mostly freaks. They're coming out of the woodwork for stuff like this.
Well, primarily because there's intentional provocation of those people in itself. So they're going to be there regardless.
So should I value her less or more?
Well, I mean, you guys can scissor and talk and have a good time, but you guys don't really provide for society.
Okay, so thank you.
No problem.
I was trying to feed him. I was trying to feed him some stats on domestic abuse and domestic violence across same-sex marriages, where lesbianism is like 6 times as high as straight couples are.
Yeah,
And gay couples are higher, but not that high. So I guess if you want to look at those numbers,
I thought it was actually homosexual men have the least cases of domestic violence, and then heterosexual, then
it may be,
lesbian,
but
homosexual.
the point stands at least in here is that lesbianism is significantly more violent.
Right.
I would say less stable.
Yeah, they get physical more quickly.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not contributing to a nuclear family, you're effectively useless to society, being honest. Also, I don't think lesbianism is real. I think it's just confusion a lot of the time.
I think he's right on this too. I'll let him finish.
Because the reality is, like, see, because I've interviewed maybe almost 4,000 girls on my show, and girls that say that they're lesbian or bisexual, I always like to ask them, well, if you had to pick one gender for the rest of your life, who are you going to pick? And 9 out of 10 times it's the men, and the reason why is because men have to provide value in a relationship. Women don't a lot of the times. Like with us, we have a multifaceted list of things that we have to bring to the table, whether it's being tall, strong, competent, financial resources. Men have to rise to the occasion to be able to get attention from the opposite gender. Women don't. So what ends up happening a lot of the times when there's lesbian or bisexual couples and are dating with women, the bar is low, and they don't really provide value to each other. And then when the check comes, they're both looking at each other confused. So, there's a reason why lesbians have some of the highest rates of domestic violence. It just doesn't work.
Yeah, there you go. So he touched on it a little bit. Who was next? But yeah, I think he's largely correct. I think
I got another question.
Sure.
So,
the degeneracy. I mean, they want a label, but at the end of the day, that's all it is to them, and they're just sexual degenerates.
It comes down to the personal gratification aspect of a relationship or the social function of a relationship, and which is more important. I mean, obviously, people get into relationships over over sexual attraction, emotional attraction, personality attraction, but that is not the purpose of the relationship,
right?
And to fulfill those desires.
And I like to touch on this a lot because there's a large barrier in language and how you think. I watched a video maybe 2 days ago, where there's an African dude talking to 2 younger Africans. I think they're African. Maybe they were. I don't know.
Was it Frank Zanu?
Is that who it was?
Is he this kind of?
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, he was talking about how there's no direct line from word for word for maintenance, and so this language barrier across Africa, that they don't have a name or a word that directly translates into maintenance, they then can't have that concept in their head. And I think that is true.
They don't create the word because they don't have the idea.
I would say the word doesn't exist, and therefore they can't create the word. Because you have to have an extreme intellect to be able to create things. On top of having the creativity to start with. This is why, even though Asians have high IQ, they don't create things; they only steal or they alter, if you will, inventions, innovate. But he was basically saying that there's no word for maintenance, so therefore the concept doesn't exist, and so they have words for repair, but it's not the same, right? Repair means the thing is broken and then you fix it, whereas maintenance is don't allow the thing to break. Does that make sense? And so in the same vein, English has the word for love, but there are many types of love, but we all group it in one together, right? I don't love my mom the same way I love my son.
Right.
I don't love my wife the same way I love my neighbor. Right. Because if we do that, we then have issues. And this is the point, right? We don't, Greek has, I think, 7 different words for different types of love. And so this is what happens when you have a language that has love and it is then conflated into any type of love is then love.
Right.
And the concept itself in the language applied gets you to the point of homosexuality because there's no differentiation.
Yeah, I get it.
That's a little deep, but I think I got there.
I think you're right. I've thought about this before too, where it's basically like, and maybe like the language thing is a good example of that, but it's like basically, this is something I was explaining to my girlfriend recently. We were talking about homosexual relationships, and it's like the types of people that tend to become homosexuals. There is a physiological aspect to it. I don't know if I would argue there's a gay gene, but it's like these like physically underdeveloped men, like physiological thing.
I would go as far to say as there's an epigenetic aspect to homosexuality.
I would say that as well. But it's like perception based almost. For example, like someone like you're 6'1", 6'2".
Man, that was generous.
Yeah,
I'm right at 6, but yeah.
You're gonna look at.
Hey, I'm 6'2" now. Josh said it.
You're gonna look at an alleyway differently than your wife is gonna look at an alleyway. Like your perception of it is different. Not totally different, but it's not the same. And so like homosexuals, like or just like these men that they're not charismatic, they're not handsome, they're not attractive. They view any form of affection, friendly affection amongst another male, they desire more than that, but that's the only type of affection they can get, so they conflate the two. And this is this is not universal; it's case by case. But I think that's a big,
it's a missing concept that that is conflated. I think you're correct. Ninja said low T. I think it's more than low T, man.
It's more that's a factor for sure, but definitely we need.
Ronnie says
there's definitely more than that.
Ronnie says y'all have left the standards of the baby boomers. Well,
I take that as a compliment.
That's what we're trying to do. That's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get out of this post-war consensus mindset that's we've been stuck in since. And
we love you, Rodney. And we're happy to have you on. We're excited to have you back on tomorrow. But the standards of the boomers is what got us here in the first place.
This is Outside the Overton. I don't know if we've explained it, but I feel like it's self-explanatory. The show is called Outside the Overton, so we are going to push the window of the Overton as far as we can by, I guess, maybe getting a little ahead of it because it's coming, which is the other podcast that Rodney's on. If y'all want to check us out tomorrow, 2:30ish. Sometimes I'm late. Sorry.
Big emphasis on the ish.
But the pendulum is swinging, and I would like to contribute to that if we can. Ninja says we all have our own struggle with sin. This is correct. Right. I think there's a predisposition with certain people to certain sins, and some have more predispositions, some have less predisposition. This is across the board. There's no question about that. I mean, you can look at violent crime or financial crime, right? But we also have to place a value on both of those. That is obviously, I'm not going to send my wife to the Piggly Wiggly down the street because there's going to be a financial crime. Like there's no real worry for that in real life, if that makes sense. Let's jump into this one. This was this guy ended up agreeing with Myron somehow.
So, what's up, man? How are you? What's your name?
Hi, how are you? My name is Trey. It's nice to meet you.
How are you, Trey?
So I heard your views on lesbians a moment ago, and I'm just curious how those views transfer to gay men. Do you believe they don't exist as well? Because you did say that lesbian relationships cannot exist because men are more multifaceted than women. That was your main argument point on lesbianism prior, and I'm just curious how that carries to.
So, what are my thoughts on gay men?
Yeah.
well, you guys are kind of useless to society too.
Fair. Yeah. I am pretty damn useless.
You know,
but not
like-
because I'm not having kids,
well,
just because I'm crazy. But
Yeah,
that's
from the
different.
nuclear family perspective, right? I say that kind of, you know, as a joke, but yeah, I mean, I think the backbone of any thriving society is the nuclear family, and if people aren't contributing to that, I think it's problematic for society. So, you know, gay men and lesbian women don't contribute to that, unfortunately, and I don't think gay men should be able to adopt children either. I think that's crazy. I don't think lesbian women should be able to adopt children either. I think kids need to be protected at all costs, and exposing them to sexual degeneracy is a problem. Because that's what homosexuality and lesbianism is. I'm a firm believer that, you know, gays and lesbians need to go back in the closet. We don't need that stuff outwardly.
Did he say he was
Send
gay?
them back. Send them back to the closet. Do what?
Did that guy say he was gay?
Yeah, he said it was gay.
Oh, I was laughing because I thought like
just
he didn't
assumed he
say,
was gay.
and Myron was like, "Gay people like you." I thought.
Well, I mean, again, we talk about the physiognomy. I think it's there, especially when he
he's
starts
got
moving.
gay face. Yeah.
That is a point of view that you are entitled to. Have a nice day.
Fair enough. Thank you for coming up. Thank you for coming up. Yeah, I guys, I know it's scary, but like I said, I'll chat with you guys who got questions on my worldviews or disagree. I'd be happy to have a conversation with anyone.
Are focused on God. And
This guy kept going on and on and on.
Jesus will
I
lead you
mean, he
to
went on for a
pray
while,
for
but
these people. And
Okay.
I think he just
it
wanted
may
to
not
talk.
change.
Let me see if I can skip ahead.
Oh man, here we go.
Oh man, here
Hello.
we go.
Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
Even now,
He said, hold on. He said probably less. Like he couldn't tell. So he's already sniffed something out about this one.
Less?
Well, I was gonna say
Oh, man.
like that tranny. That is a man disguised as a woman, but I've definitely seen some women that
we
are
go.
pretty on par with that look.
Hello.
Do I deserve more or less?
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably less.
even now, when my voice is lower than yours.
Even less now.
Even less now, dude. I mean, dude, trannies deserve nothing. I think I agree with Myron on that one. But no, this is the same.
They deserve a hospital bed and defibrillators to the head twice a day.
This is the same dude that
Oh man, here we go.
did the same thing that Nessie
Hello.
Mace,
I
2
deserve
days ago
more or less?
at
Yeah.
USC. Same person. Stole a fern or something. I don't know what they were doing, dude.
That was so fun. That was
I was
the
like, what are you
funniest thing.
doing? What are you
That
doing
was
with the fern?
Funniest thing.
Where are you going with that?
Just
you-
like spitefully tried to steal a plant at that like Nancy May. She didn't bring the plants with her. You know, she was just like, or he was just
Yeah.
so mad about it that he took the plant. That's
I don't know. It's
funny.
like you go to the Capitol, you take a podium, you go to prison for 6 years. But if you go take a fern, it's just, I don't know, you're glorified because you're a tranny.
Are you a man or a woman?
I'm asking you. Do I deserve more or less?
Well, probably
I don't know how long
less.
we're trying to go. This girl was pretty delusional too.
Even
Let's
now,
just find out
when my
about
voice is lower than yours.
That implies that there needs to be some type of emotional nurture there. So is the problem that women are too emotional or that they're not emotional enough?
No, what I'm talking about is in this context where.
Work.
I'm sorry?
I didn't take a crash course on how men work. Why do men need to take a crash course on women?
Because men.
He gets a good jab in here.
Here's the thing. Men have to build up the attraction and approach the women. They're the ones that got to make things happen. Women don't. You guys are in a privileged position where the men just come to you.
So you
But-
guys are stupid, basically.
I mean, if that's if that's the conclusion you're going to come to, I
No,
guess.
that was a question. That wasn't a conclusion. It was a question.
No, it's a learned skill that they need to develop to learn how to properly deal with women. So
Why
that
do
they
you
don't
need to
end
learn
up-
how to deal with people?
See, this is exactly what I'm talking about. I teach guys to avoid women like you, as a matter of fact.
Thank you. Stay away
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You should be in the kitchen somewhere, but it's fine. We'll have this discussion. Yeah, the reality is, what was that? Yes.
I mean, you can see the intentional provocation here, right? I mean,
Yeah,
he's been doing this for like 5 or 6 years, specifically dealing with younger women that are entitled, if you will. They have the attitude, but
I
I've
can't
not
cook either.
insulted you once this entire time.
See, this is precisely the problem. Combative, assertive women that, don't want to necessarily obey or know when to, be quiet when I'm making
Who
a
the
point.
fuck are you to tell me to obey you? I'm not
she's
your
really pissed.
woman. I don't need to obey you. I'm not in a relationship with you. I'm trying to have a conversation with you. I don't need to obey you.
Well, you're
under
just
other
kind of just
means.
talking over me when I make my point or answer your questions or trying to, instigate some type of reaction, which is cool. I think it's funny. It's interesting. But
Well,
I
aren't you
think,
instigating a reaction
Yeah.
by being here on a campus with people who are more or less going to have different...
Well, I'm just telling the uncomfortable truth that a lot of people don't want to hear.
So
Well, the problem is they want it their way, but you can't do it, right? So she's being provocative and then accusing him of being provocative, right? It either goes both ways or it doesn't.
Yeah,
like pick one.
It's I know you are, but what am I?
it's okay for you to be instigative and combative whenever you want to share your truth, but when someone wants to give another side of the truth, you want them to be quiet and you think that they aren't obeying you.
Okay, so first of all, there is no other side of the truth. There's only the truth. I don't know.
Yes, because a man's job is to be a leader and be assertive and convey information. Women, you guys supposed to be quiet and make sandwiches. That's the difference.
You can make your own sandwich. If you need to take a crash course on how to talk to other people, you can take a crash course on how to make a fucking sandwich.
Anyway.
If you're such a strong provider,
sound,
provide!
You sound mad that, do you know how to make a sandwich?
Yeah, I do. Want me to teach you?
No, thank you. That's the woman's job.
She walked
Okay.
into that one, dude.
All right, cool.
So what do you do for a living? Genuine question. What's your job?
Yeah, we get to the next person.
Why are you...
What's Myron's job, Josh? I mean, let's just take a look here and think to ourselves, what's your job?
He's an accountant.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's definitely
Try to make
working
sandwiches. That's the
the
difference.
payroll books. I don't even remember
All right,
this one. To be
so I
honest
have
with
a
you.
couple of things. First off, throughout history, we've noticed that Western society was a lot more less developed whenever women did not have rights compared to now that women do have rights. They are inventing things such as Ada Lovelace and coding and computers. And so how would you think life would be if we never got those rights and those things were never invented?
So first of all, they didn't invent that, but
We'd be a better society.
Inventing computers.
I think she claimed they invented Wi-Fi too, which isn't true.
I've heard that, and I like they say a woman invented Bluetooth, but it's you see this claim a lot, and not to go off on a tangent here, but it's basically you see this from women, but mostly the black community, where it's like if at any point in the technology that led up to an invention or afterward there was a black person involved, they get the credit for it.
Well, it's the same thing with a black-owned business. If that's what these companies were doing when they had when ESG score was running rampant. They would gift a black person 1% equity in the business and then claim it's a black-owned business.
Right.
They're playing the game, but the system allows for them to play this game.
Chris says Charles Babbage invented the computer. White guy.
Yeah,
I figured it wasn't a woman with a name like Chuck.
97% of all inventions were Europeans, but the Asians are good on innovation and
That's true.
and theft of IP, but that's a different question.
Society, probably.
And
Yeah.
why is that?
Well, we would have more nuclear families. We wouldn't have...
Myron, gotcha. Thank you.
What's your name?
Awesome.
Hold on.
Okay.
Can you pause it real quick?
Yep.
Just want to address one thing that lady said before. She did bring up that you see that like when women were more oppressed, we were less developed. But the less women get depressed, the more oppressed, the more developed we become.
Yeah.
That's a what do they call it? I hate the fallacy.
Non sequitur?
Non sequitur. Yeah, like these two things aren't connected.
Correct.
And the innovation is like innovation in what way? Like
Well, I think her
technological.
premise is wrong also. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously we're going to progress, but the question is at what rate? And so we've progressed faster to get to, let's say, the 50s than we have from the 50s to now. I mean, just look at planes. We didn't start flying until, what, 1903?
1912.
1912? I don't know. Somebody was flying before then. They probably didn't land well. But... yeah, 1912 to the 50s, I mean, that was extreme progress with flight. What have we done since at least 69? Nothing. Right? We haven't gone back to the moon. Planes aren't faster. They're a little bit more high quality, except for the ones falling out of the sky.
And he brought up the bell curve during the second of it, the nightly kind of speech he did, where it's basically... When you look at the disparity in IQs between
I didn't have
men
a
and women,
conversation with him about that before that either, though.
What is there a hot take? Because
No.
Okay.
Because
Because what I understand is that it's like you see a higher average IQ in women, meaning like the IQ is in the range of like 100 I think,
The
or like
IQ,
in the middle.
the IQ
There's
average,
more women have a higher average IQ, but you get more geniuses with men, but also more dummies. So you get
Right,
more
so-
dumb men, more genius men, but in the middle you get more smart women. They have a higher average.
They're not smarter. So here's how it works. The bell curve for women is more concentrated, right? So you don't have the trail ends that lead out. And so what happens is you have more average women than you do average men. But what that means is if the bell curve is flattened out, both ends trail off, you have more retarded men, you have more intelligent men.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to explain.
And so on the extremes, it is exponential and not linear, right? And so once you get over like 130, you can't accurately measure IQ. And so this is what we come across is when men have a significant portion of higher IQ people, they produce more by nature.
Right.
And also we talk about the bell curve. I gifted him a book called Human Diversity, where Charles Murray outlines a meta-analysis of a bunch of studies of the difference between men and women and how they think, right? They come to the same answers, but they get there different ways. Women convert everything into words and phrases, whereas men just process them more logically, typically mathematically. And so they end up in the same place, but they take different routes to get there. And this is representative of how men think rationally compared to how women think a little bit more. You could I'll call it irrationally, but
Emotionally?
More emotionally. Yeah. It's only natural, man. It's not,
Right.
I'm not necessarily here to beat up on women, but that's simply the case.
How are you, Ozzy?
Sorry, I have no clue who you are. So this
No
is
problem.
very interesting. So I have a couple of questions for you.
Sure.
I noticed that you keep up bringing up the nuclear family. In a
Can they
relationship,
see you
so
hover?
you have
Yeah, they can see me
you.
hover.
Well, the nuclear family.
Yep.
I
The
don't know how to fix it.
stereotypical nuclear family is a loyal working
This guy
husband
kept
who
going
goes
on.
to
He
the
kept-
office or whatever.
This guy kept name dropping fresh, like I don't know, like Myron cared.
You wanted
Because
to go
men are
toward an
hardy.
sex escapade, which is, I guess, fine. But the
He
reality
was also missing Myron's point. I don't think he's necessarily wrong, but he wasn't.
Well,
I don't know, maybe he wasn't-
I haven't seen this guy. I don't know
Okay,
what you're
so
talking about.
basically he says that Myron led him astray because he slept with a bunch of people and now he has a wife and kids
Damaged
and
my
he's
personal
happy
life, including
being.
relationships.
how did it lead you astray?
Well, you told me to go sleep with a bunch of women and date multiple women at the same time, which I did, and it significantly damaged my life. And it wasn't until I actually turned around and started listening to Jesus Christ that I was saved. Now,
I'm cool with that.
now I'm happily married. I have
Right, I'm cool with that too. I think he is relatively correct in his assessment and kind of pushback. But the problem is, he says he slept with all these women, and Myron tries to make the point that that assisted you in your choice of women and kind of filtering out what you want from marriage. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that, but what Myron is saying is true in that it helped him kind of pick the woman that he's with now, and he wanted to reject that outright. And so his experience is his experience regardless of if he wanted it or not. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it's because Myron, he's not a Christian. He says he's a Muslim, but it's very nominal.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know if he's really even a practicing Muslim because he does believe in polygamy, not quite as much as I think it's Andrew Tate. Yeah,
I would
Andrew
say
Tate does.
he's like
but,
a traditionalist.
but he is a traditionalist, and basically, I do agree with the person on the mic. You know, we should not be sexually promiscuous, but we do need to, on the other side, we need to understand that there is a nature to things. Men have a certain nature. Women have a certain nature. And this is not a negative thing. You know, it comes across, like you were saying, we're not here to beat up on women. We're really not. It comes across as negative because of what we've been told and what we've been taught for the last several decades. But really, men have a role in society. Women have a role in society, and their genetics, their IQ, their whatever, it directs them towards those roles.
Yeah, so
and there's
I don't know if he's a Muslim or not, because
yeah.
he bashed pretty hard on. So I did a video with him later that evening or the next morning, if you will, like 2 a.m.
That's what made me question it,
That was
because
awesome.
he was saying Islam is
incompatible with
Western.
And he's correct on that. So I'm not sure. I don't think he's Muslim. I think he maybe grew up Muslim. I don't want to put anything in his mouth. What is Skip? That we were probably talking. I want to get to this other chick real quick. I don't even remember her too. She thought she was clever.
And this is how you make money. And that's kind of embarrassing, honestly.
Yeah.
But I just have to ask, what do you think of your mom?
What do I think of my mom?
Your mom.
It's actually my mom that instilled a lot of these ideas in me. She's the one that warned me.
Really?
Yeah.
So she's anti-woman too?
No, she's anti-whore.
Anti-whore?
Yeah. No, I'm the whore maker.
It sounds kind of like
Men can't be whores, ladies. Men can't be whores. Men can't be whores. Only women can be whores.
Can you give me a definition that backs that up?
I'm sorry?
A definition of some kind that backs that up?
Backs what up? That men are not whores?
That men cannot be whores because anyone can be a whore. Anybody can sleep around, and men do it way more than women do.
Yeah,
I think
well, actually, so here's the thing.
He said red dress.
Whore. If I can, okay. Can you guys all hear me?
It's actually a
Still?
red tube
Okay.
top, which is and the bottom is worse than the top is. So, I think the camera's still on when she walks away. It's bad.
Whore is a pejorative term. So typically, well, let me ask you a question. What's your body count?
My body count?
Yeah.
I'd rather not share that on the internet.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, here's the thing. I knew you were going to say that. But hold on. There's a reason why you don't want to disclose that.
Yes, because I have free will and I can say what I want. Thank you.
No, sure. But let's actually peel the layer back, right?
Okay.
The reason why you don't want to disclose it, as well as women in general don't want to disclose that, because women understand that their sexuality defines their value in the dating marketplace. So even though women sit there, oh, look at this, she's literally losing her mind. Even though
I've actually I've talked to men before
let me just finish my point, right? So women instinctually know that their body count directly affects, and their past promiscuity directly affects their ability to find a suitor in the future, right? So when people use a term like whore, which is a pejorative term, that's attributed to women because you guys care about your body count because that limits your ability to find a man. But for us, the more partners we have, typically the more value we have. Because as a man, for you to be able to get a lot of sex, you have to bring something to the table, right? Men that have sex with a lot of women typically have some kind of money, some status, they're charming, they have something.
Can I speak?
Well, I'm finishing my point to answer your question. So men have to bring something to the table to be promiscuous. Women don't. So that's why it's not respected.
I think
Myron is correct, but I still think it's degenerate.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because it almost sounded, he did correct it in
the video we did, he
he
kind of touched on it really briefly too, where.
But it's like having sex with lots of women does not make you a high value man. Being a high value man results in female attraction,
Yes.
and if you're sexually promiscuous, if you're not Christian, you're more likely to fall to those desires.
Correct.
So
yeah, I mean, is it both sinful? Yes. Is it both degenerate? Yes. But there's obviously a value difference between body count numbers across sexes. I feel like that's obvious, and I don't know why there's such a pushback on it. And again, that's not me saying either is okay. I think they're both degen. Yeah. I mean, yeah, Ninja's right.
Yeah, Myron, he's sexually promiscuous. I don't know if it was someone who attended the event, but they said that Myron was an open relation, like one of the people that paid extra.
Yeah.
I don't watch enough of his content to know if that's true.
Yeah. Well, he says it on here. He says he's in an open relationship.
Yeah.
On
that's
his end.
Where his girlfriend is not allowed to sleep with other guys, but he's allowed to sleep with other girls.
Yes.
every woman here would agree that we don't want men bringing their sexual experience and sluttiness to the table. We want men bringing their kindness.
This guy.
Do you mind if I ask you a little bit of a deviation from the topic?
This guy, I'll let him ask his question, but Myron held back on the answer. Said he was going to answer it later, but never did. So maybe I'll touch on it.
All right. If it's not too far off, but go ahead.
I think there's some way that these ideas can be linked. So you famously said that Hitler did things that were morally incorrect. He definitely did a bunch of things that were correct for his country. Can you just explain what things Hitler did for Nazi Germany that were quote unquote good?
Sure. Now, that's way off the topic.
Well, I mean, you could talk about women in the Nazi movement if you want to.
All right, so Myron's sitting up here at his table, right? And he's got a big, thick book of Mein Kampf sitting right beside him on the ground. I was like, dude, just grab it. But he decides not to, and he kind of elaborates in the evening portion of this on why he didn't. He said it was just taking too much time in front of people.
That was super funny, though. When we were at the event, like, you were kind of helping out, so I got there earlier as well. And on the like production table, like the guy who was manning all the cameras, I came up at one point and just saw Mein Kampf like with like on it, and I was dying laughing. That was so funny.
Yeah, he had it at his feet. I guess he decided not to pull it out because obviously that would have been another 20, 30 minute monologue that was going to happen. So they were trying to kick us out at 1:30, and
it was supposed to go till 5, right?
Supposedly we had till 5. They were trying to kick us out at 1:30. And we essentially negotiated down to 2:10. I think Sean, which is the guy putting on the show with Uncensored America, go check them out if you can. They got dude, they're doing big things, man. They got the ball rolling pretty good. Wow, I just stuttered real bad.
We need another good night of sleep.
But yeah, go check them out. And I'll call back to this event when we get to the evening portion.
Well, here's the thing. We're here to talk about why women deserve less, but how about this? Let me answer a couple of these questions that are on topic, and then I could definitely do that one.
Why don't you?
Because that will take the conversation somewhere else.
Yeah, but I guess to answer the guy's question, I mean, obviously there's something there. But Ninja Space said earlier about on a separate topic, he says, yeah, it's possible to take the good and leave the bad. I think that's exactly the case. Though I don't know how much actual bad there is once you boil down Nazi Germany. But that's an entirely different discussion.
Okay, then I can ask a question that's on topic.
Sure. And then I'd be happy to engage with you on that.
Don't ban me, YouTube.
That's why.
Sure, okay.
If we're able to stay here till 5 like they originally told us, I'd be totally down to answer that.
So, do you believe in free market capitalism?
The thing is I'm an American nationalist, and once it starts to impede Americans' ability to get jobs, and we're bringing in H-1B visas or foreigners for work that an American can do, I'm opposed to that. I think we need to focus on America first, America only, and that's what we should be doing. Not necessarily turning the country into like just we want to focus on the economy. I think we have a national pride that we need to adhere to.
Okay, I don't understand why you entertained that question, but not the one that came before on what Nazi Germany that was positive.
Well, I'm assuming that's a lead up to something with feminism, I'm assuming.
I mean, it's possible, but you kind of preempted what I was going to say, so I'm going to give the mic to someone else.
Okay. Well,
he got mad because he answered the question before he could ask it. That's probably something I should ask him, Josh, is how would he define America? What is an American?
Well, I was a little bit surprised because, he's obviously, like, it's kind of it was a joke y'all were all making last night where it's like, is he black? Is he Arabic? No one really knows. But he's not white, and
right, he's obviously not white.
Yeah, but he like him being against H-1B visas. I was a little surprised to hear that.
I'll give you a little bit of background. I mean, I don't know a ton about him. I don't watch his stuff religiously, but I have an idea of most of the people in the Red Pill Manosphere type movements. But Myron was born in Connecticut to 2 Sudanese parents. They are largely grouped into Arab and or African descent, black, whatever. But, obviously being born in Connecticut, there's a little bit of different dynamic than it is being born in South Carolina here, right? And so when he said his parents always instilled in him that he doesn't need to be black. He doesn't need to talk black, doesn't need to look black, doesn't need to dress black, doesn't need to listen to black music. And so that's why he talks not ebonically.
Mm-hmm. And, he's very articulate, well spoken.
Was his parents immigrants? Yes, he's first generation. He's first generation American, and I mean, by my definition, he wouldn't be American, though. Obviously, there's some.
But I wish more Americans had his mentality about America.
Right.
I'd be happy to discuss that part.
I mean, I got things to do. Could you just address it right now?
This next chick. Well, so I'll talk about this next chick. So is he American? Yeah, I mean, yes, he's American. He's American by definition, but not my definition. So this chick, and we were talking about physiognomy when we first started this thing. I want you to note the physiognomy again, on this chick and some of the other ones. There's an obvious connection between train of thought and the facial features. I feel like there is, Josh. I feel like it's so obvious.
Women deserve less. What I mean by that is guys need to kind of go into a relationship and make women earn their
the exposure
their
bad. I couldn't
validation
really see her face.
Hold on, let me
Or the majority of men from.
let me get to the beginning of the question.
Or the majority of men.
Like, not all women are the same.
Well, the reality is most women don't want to be in a relationship with a guy who isn't competent, leadership traits, attractive, tall, good shape, etc. Women want a guy.
That's
that
what
has
you
his stuff
want in a
together.
man.
I'm sorry?
Why do you keep describing what
That's the
women
same
want
girl.
in a man? Like you're just
Her
Because
voice
it's a fact.
changed so much.
It's not
biological
a fact. You're describing what you want in men.
Okay, good one. Yeah, I mean it's kind of been.
Or the majority of men from
Yeah,
the world.
I will. We'll let her roll.
I think men need to stop simping on women. I think it's a problem. So when I say women deserve less, what I mean by that is guys need to kind of go into a relationship and make women earn their validation and resources and everything else that comes with being in a relationship.
So I'm confused how women needing to show their worth equals them deserving less.
Well, the thing is that a lot of women are very entitled and they think, oh, I'm just here. You know, I want you to do X, Y, Z. And I need guys to basically understand their value and make women earn that validation because the problem is thanks to social media and dating apps and everything else, women have an abundance of options. And if you're just another sucker that's going to be a nice guy and spend your time, resource, energy on her, you're not going to differentiate yourself. So guys need to kind of go into relationships with a little bit more self-respect and give them less, especially up front.
Okay, so the statement women deserves less is to encourage men to make women believe they also deserve less?
Well, I think it's pretty
for
much instilling.
relationships?
It's instilling a relationship dynamic where the woman needs to work to get his validation. She's just not going to get it for just existing and having a vagina.
So they still deserve good things, but only if they are good themselves.
They got to earn it. Yep.
Okay.
That's what it comes down to. I'm all for men treating women nice and, you know, obviously paying for dates, taking them out, committing to them. I'm all for that, but I think that most women simply don't qualify for that because a lot of women have bad habits. A lot of them are rude, obnoxious, masculine. These are things that guys should be looking out for to avoid.
So what qualities?
Like these women over here, for example.
So what qualities?
Like that's not ladylike behavior to like just yell and heckle on the left-hand side.
So what qualities in a
Hold
woman
on.
would
Damn.
deserve
Let me
what
get to
you
this one real
consider-
quick. Oh,
Well, I think that's dependent upon the man. I think
Can you do like the
guys
10
should
second?
be looking out for it to avoid.
So what qualities?
Like these women over here, for example.
All right, so check
what
this out.
qualities-
I don't know if
Like,
he,
that's
I don't know
not
if
That
Sean,
thing.
to, like-
You
I
see
don't know if
that?
Sean picks it up later.
What is that?
It's a, I think it's a, I don't know. It's a dude dressed as a chick thing. I don't know if Sean gets this on camera, but later on, it comes up with the Chick-fil-A bag. And
Really?
the Chick-fil-A menu. And I looked at Sean and I said,
Not expecting
the
that.
tranny's got the God's chicken. It's like, what? I thought they like boycotted Chick-fil-A or
They
something.
just yell and heckle on the left-hand side.
So what qualities in a woman would make her deserve what you would consider?
Decepticon detected.
Well, I think that's
Ninja
dependent
Spin
upon the man. I think, you know, depending on where the guy is and what he's looking for, I think a woman's job is kind of to. So, you know, women will sit there and say, "Oh, I want an equal partner," but when you look at her partner, a lot of times he's actually superior to her.
So you're saying in order for a woman to deserve something, she must just have these traditional qualities, and the man must also have these traditional qualities?
Well, here's the thing. You know, every man is different and looks for certain things. I think the thing is that he's got to kind of come in and understand this is how a lot of modern women are. You know, if she has certain bad habits, you're going to have to deprogram that out and just go from there. Or some girls might not even be worth it. You know, she has to obviously have potential. But if she doesn't have potential, then don't waste your time.
So a man, even if he's not these traditional masculine qualities, should still pursue a woman with all these traditional feminine qualities in order to fulfill his ego?
No, I think men need to rise to the occasion. If you want a submissive traditional female, you need to be the dominant, assertive male, and you adhere to your duties. I'm very big on the men. You can't demand a feminine woman while being a feminine man. It doesn't make sense.
So should I say men deserve less in order to encourage women to find men with less qualities in order to find a partner they're hoping to change?
Well, no. It's the reason why the women deserve less is because we have a simp problem. We have guys that are over here giving women a lot of attention and resources simply for the fact that they have a vagina.
I think that's a point that's missed. Why women deserve less, right? So the premise is assuming that women are getting more than they deserve initially, and so I think that is largely the case. And I think he makes a point about feminism later on, but it's there's a privilege that women have, especially in society today, that you can align with DEI. And affirmative action. The greatest benefactors of DEI and affirmative action are white women. Do you know that, Josh?
No, I did not. I assumed it would be black people.
No, it's largely a population thing, but yes, by the numbers, women are the greatest. Maybe not per capita, but by total population,
I did not know
greatest
that.
benefactors of DEI.
So that's the problem. It's on the male side. With women, you guys kind of already have your pick of the litter, so I have to teach men this stuff, not necessarily women.
I see.
Yeah,
So women are good at having good standards and men are not, and that's why we say women deserves less?
Well, typically men take whatever they can get. Women wait out for the best option that they can get. Men take, women want the best they can get. Men can take whatever they can get. So I'm trying to get guys to understand their value and only white folk women that are worthy, because a lot aren't.
So in order for a man to find a woman that's worthy, we have to convince all the women that they're not worthy.
No, the girl that he's dating,
She gets
needs to
close.
prove
Hold on.
herself.
Yes, so
You gotta put
inherently
her through her
believe that
paces.
she is not worthy on her own and must prove herself. Right?
Yes. Just like the man must prove himself to become attractive in the first place.
I mean, I think both sides of the relationship need to prove themselves.
But here's the difference. We don't tell that enough to women. That's the issue.
I think it's because
We tell women that they're perfect just the way that they are, and that's a lie. We tell men all the time you need to rise to the occasion. We got standards on men, but we don't put standards on women. No matter how rude, crass, obnoxious they are, how fat they are, we don't give them any standards.
And I feel like that's mainly because women in society.
We don't tell men love your curves. We tell women that. We don't tell women to do the right thing. We do what's right for you. We tell men do the right thing. Women do what's right for you. So we don't really have societal boundaries on females. And if a man does express societal boundaries,
who's guiding the societal statements? It's men. It's men not supporting men.
well, that's why I'm here. Tell them the truth.
So let's exclude women and focus on men supporting men.
That's what I'm doing. But for them to understand this stuff, I have to talk about, obviously, this obstacle that's in the way that messes a lot of them up. Because they might go ahead and make money, become successful, but they can't figure out women.
Well, I think a lot of times they can find success without women, and it might even be a faster route.
Success in what regard, though? If they want to have a family, they're going to need a female.
I feel like they should find success before finding the female.
I agree with you on that.
And then they'll find a female that's also successful.
Well, I mean, every guy's different, but men typically don't care about a woman's success.
Okay, but successful for you would mean a traditional feminine trait.
Yeah.
So if he
But it
has
seemed to me
this-
like you meant to end the way where, like, academic achievement or monetary, because you come.
No,
okay.
well, yeah, I'm sorry. I just meant considering
typically don't
your
care about a
version of
woman's-
a woman's success is that.
In general, typically most guys don't care about a woman's ability to create resources.
I mean,
Men don't care about
traditionally in society.
I mean, in general, like, guys don't care about how much money a woman makes or her career.
I would argue that's more of a society evolutionary thing than biological, but
Yeah. Next.
Did I skip the
Yeah,
part?
So-
She
Yeah, I'll
asked
say it
about
till they kick us
feminism.
out.
Hold
say
on.
the woman shows
Chester.
up with all these qualities. Say she shows up with feminism and quietness and a pursuit of societally feminine qualities. Like, if she already comes with all these great qualities, does that mean
So you mean
she
she's not a
wouldn't deserve
feminist?
less?
So you mean she's not a feminist?
She can be a feminist, but also just adhere to more societally feminine roles.
Well, the problem with that is that if she's a feminist, that inherently means that she thinks she's equal to the man, and that's problematic.
I would say that's not quite the definite. Well, honestly, feminism.
Well, let me
is
ask you this.
Pretty equal.
See,
Would
I,
it be
I
fair-
thought that
So
was a good,
women are
that was
good
a
at-
point right there where she like kind of debated herself on feminism inside of her head real quick, and then essentially,
The wheels were turning. I saw it
right.
too.
I mean, she agreed with a lot of points that Myron was making.
So You had mentioned
that was a good discussion inside of a provocative arena, right? And people want to say that Myron's being provocative. There's no productive discussion that's going to come from any of this. I feel like that was one right there.
Yeah, I hadn't seen a clip of her yet, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. But I definitely think like she was obviously trying to be like, so what about like to try and get a one up on him, but ended up basically arriving at the point.
Yeah,
Though you had brought up before she came on the physiognomy thing.
Yep.
So you said like you think her physiognomy kind of gave her away that she was going to be one of these like yappers.
Yeah, the way she no. I thought she was a little bit more reserved.
Okay, because I had thought you were getting the opposite, but then I thought the same thing. And Ninja of Spades in the comments says she has a succubus for a mother guarantee. Because typically, when you see these girls out here, everyone says daddy issues, daddy issues, daddy issues. And that's typically, if you have a bad father and you're a girl, you're more inclined to become more of a whore. But that is definitely a problem too. These sort of like when the man completely submits to the wife in the relationship, you've got these pee-whipped guys. Then you got these overbearing mothers, and then you get daughters like that.
Yep. Let me see if I can find the.
So I agree with you, Ninja of Spades. Although I don't know if succubus is the right word, because I think a succubus is like a demon that seduces people, but I get what you meant by it.
All right, so that's about it for that one. Ninja said, I need a second screen. He's basically saying we need better production, Josh. I agree with him. If anybody wants to donate so I can pay Josh to come full-time to fix this stuff.
Please do.
We're going to jump into...
We're getting a lot of views today. We're at 100 people.
If they speak up about it, they're going to be...
dude. We're going to jump into the evening debate. And then we'll go from there. Give me about 2 seconds. I'll send it myself. Josh, say words.
I'm trying to think. I'm curious. Like, it is kind of funny though, going back to the guy tried to bring up Hitler for some reason. That one guy.
I think
I wonder if he was Jewish.
You wonder if he was Jewish?
Yeah, because
probably, dude. Probably.
We talk about physiognomy. He passed. Believe it, like he passed the gay test. He did not seem like a gay person, despite his effeminacy. You know what I mean? But he didn't have gay face.
Yeah.
More words, I guess.
Decent. All right. Where do you want to start with this one? Let's see. So we gave a speech on. This didn't go as long as the one in Penn State did.
Women don't really take care of their appearance like they used to. There's no shame. So
it did go full 9/11 at some point. What is the passport movement? You want to touch on this real quick?
Summary of feminism?
And that's when I said, well, this is why Trump won the election, and there was a silent majority. Because people are tired of the woke ideology. People saying that there's 99 genders. Do I deserve more? Whatever. It's like, no, dude, you're a weirdo. Like... it's like, look, if you want to go ahead and call yourself a woman when you're really a man, then that's your problem. We don't have to go ahead and buy into your fairy tale. It's weird. So, but that's kind of where we are now, where men can't be honest. We can't say what's really on our mind, and we can't really hold women to a standard and make them better. Because I truly do think we're at a point now where if a guy gets in a relationship with a girl, he's got to have very strong boundaries and be able to coach his woman to be the proper girlfriend for him. And
I will say this, dude. Whoever's running Myron's back end for his accounts, they are fast with the clips, dude. Good on them. Whatever he's paying them, good job, dude.
Eventually a wife.
They're making it. They're doing it.
But a lot of guys don't have the balls to do this because we're taught, you accept her however she comes, right? They always tell you be a man, but we never tell women to be women, right? We never tell them, hey, be a lady. We just say, okay, you behave however you want. And I'm kind of saying what everyone is thinking, right? And I got the numbers to back it up, that men simply don't see a lot of women as marriage material. Another thing that I've also noticed over the past couple of years is there's been an influx in the passport movement, in the passport bro movement. For those that are unaware, I'm sure the women might not know what I'm talking about here. The passport bro movement is a movement where a lot of guys basically go to foreign countries in South America, Africa, Eastern Asia, etc., and find themselves a partner. And I know some people might say, oh, wow, why are guys doing that? Are they desperate or whatever? Well, these are some of the places
where, you know, there's still some remnants of femininity, women that behave like ladies. And the thing is that men don't really care about a woman's education or status. Men are more concerned with a girl that's going to respect them, that follows their lead, that admires them, that it obeys them, right? And I mean, one girl got triggered when I said obey, and I'm like, what? A guy can't like give instruction to a woman? It's like, you want me to go ahead and pay the bills and take care of you, whatever, but you're not going to obey me? Like, that's ridiculous. That's slavery. Responsibility without authority is slavery, and I'll be damned if we're going to be slaves to bitches. No, you know. So all I'm telling guys to do is really like understand their worth and make.
But yeah, I mean, so he was talking about this the passport bro stuff. It's because of feminism and the injection of women into the workforce and the entitlement that comes with it, right? Because men have to work exponentially harder to meet the standards that were significantly easier to meet previously, and this is paralleled with the economy, the rise in cost of goods, the rise in cost of living, along with the lowering of wages, or at least the stagnation of wages, right? Because Myron talks about that is, you know, once you get your money, once you get yourself built up, it's easier to sustain yourself in life. And then along comes a woman, you get married, you know, you live it out happily ever after, nuclear family, this and that. But to get there is extremely harder today because you have the influx of H-1Bs. You have the influx of women into the workforce. And and not only that, but you have the exportation of labor. You have the exportation of coding or digital warfare or whatever you want to call it, where the competition or the supply and demand is not sustainable at this point.
Right.
And
to maintain a traditional and ideal standard of living here in America is becoming more and more impossible.
Yes.
Yeah.
More and more impossible. I mean, it's right at impossible right now. I think there's a bubble that's going to pop, and that's kind of what he's saying now is that some of these men recognize this, so they go out and they get these passport bros and go out and find some chicks that haven't been introduced to the internet yet, basically.
Yeah,
is what it boils down to, and they bring them back, or either they stay over there. And I don't know if I even fault them for that because there's so much brain rot going on in the United States right now.
So I know this is a thing that is talked about, but like, how many guys are actually doing this?
I would say more than you would think.
Really?
Around here, I know it doesn't seem that much, but from what I can tell from the outside looking in, there's it's more than zero for sure.
Women earn it. That's really what it is. And trust me, they'll respect you more for it anyway. So that's what's going on, where these guys are going to these other countries.
Let's bash on Nancy Mace.
I need a woman that's going to follow my lead, not a woman that's going to come
Nancy
in
Mace?
and create a bunch of pandemonium.
Why not Nancy Mace?
And do whatever she feels like.
Why Nancy Mace? That's a good question.
Well, I mean, I get why, but like, why in the like, did he bring her up? I don't
know. Well, the Me Too movement is kind of a callback from a few years ago, where "Believe all women" was a perpetual saying, and if you oppose that, then you were a rape denier or something. Who knows anymore? But Nancy Mace has made all these accusations, yet has filed none of them, right? She makes these accusations on the House floor where she has complete immunity to defamation cases. Why? Why on the House floor? Why not anywhere else? Because there's immunity there. And then she wants to go on and on and on and accuse some gay dude of harassing her when he didn't. That was like 3 days ago. And then you have the tranny fern taker that kind of came at her and she lost her marbles on that one. It's like sometimes some people, trouble finds them. She looks for it, dude.
Oh yeah. She's an attention whore. And a regular one.
And so, yeah, believe all women, especially Nancy Mace.
Shit, they hurt us. I'll give you guys an example. I'm sure you guys remember roughly 2 years ago? Will Smith, legendary actor, sitting at a red table with his wife, right? And guess what happens? She goes ahead and says some stupid shit. Oh, I had a, what's the term? An entanglement, right? I had an entanglement. And in that instant, bam. Career gone. Nobody remembers iRobot. Nobody remembers I Am Legend. Nobody remembers Men in Black. Nobody remembers Independence Day. Nobody remembers Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Nothing.
For anyone watching, I Am Zeb's hostage. I need help.
Will Smith
Please call the police.
Sitting at a table with red eyes, on the verge of tears from his woman embarrassing him on TV. And he still hasn't recovered. He still hasn't recovered. Then he had the slap with Chris Rock. And I give you guys that example to show you that a man with a background like Will Smith, who's literally a legend in music and entertainment and acting and movies and TV shows, this guy's a legend. But his legacy has been tarnished because what? A stupid bitch that wanted to be a whore. And this is what I mean when I tell guys, right? That's facts. You know? Bro went from I am legend to I am simp. Like, what's going on here? So this is what I mean. If a woman like that could destroy Will Smith's legacy, what the fuck do you think is going to happen to you guys? Will Smith can't even save himself from these whores. Shannon Sharp just got accused yesterday. Literally.
All right, so.
Sorry, I had to pee.
No, you're good. You're good. He's talking about Will Smith. Basically, also, Will Smith is gay. So.
Well, they're all gay.
Yeah. But it's definitely, yeah. You get these like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. It doesn't matter how rich and successful you are. If you don't marry the right woman, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Dark Prince asked, where can I watch the full video? Myron Gaines X, at Myron Gaines X on YouTube. Just type in Myron Gaines. You can pull it up. It's under his live streams. Or you can stick around and then watch it afterwards, but that's all good. Nah, you got it, brother. Yeah, so talking about Will Smith and them being gay and everything, yeah. They're all gay in Hollywood, dog.
I like that guy's username.
Which one?
Fannie Willis Booty.
Booty.
Even the Bible warns
Fannie
about
Willis.
even the Bible warns about Jezebel women. I think it's King Solomon says it's better to live in the desert than with a quarrelsome wife.
Understanding that the law is a teacher, and kind of like laws and kind of.
Topic was feminism. I think we have a bit more time now, so.
I just want to say shout out to Castle Club, shout out to Josie, shout out to Jake, shout out to the YouTube chat, shout out to the Roman chat. Y'all the goats, and thank you, Myron, for coming. And you the goat, and that's all I gotta say.
Appreciate that, Jibril.
He knew that guy, you said?
That's one of our.
I knew that
right
guy.
There.
My bad.
No.
All right.
Because from the back, I thought it was him. I remember we walked in and I was like, "Is that him?"
He said it looks like his brother.
Hey, how's it going?
Josh, that might be racist.
I just want to ask if, understanding that the law is a teacher and, kind of like laws and kind of shape like social taboos and kind of the society we want to live in. So kind of going off that, would you support banning women from higher education and repealing the 19th Amendment?
Repealing the 19th Amendment, for sure. I don't think women should vote.
That's all. That's fine.
And I know some people, that's probably a shocker for some people. Well, instead of laughing, let me explain why. There's actually a very logically sound reason why women shouldn't vote, and I'll go into it right now. So here's the thing. If you're going to vote, you need to have skin in the game, right? Because, if you're going to vote, you can effectively put in the commander-in-chief of the United States who can, obviously send armed forces over to other countries and get involved in wars, right? Now, here's the problem. Women don't have to join the Selective Service. I mean, I'm sure a lot of women here probably don't even know what the Selective Service is. The Selective Service is basically once you turn 18 as a man in the United States, you have to enroll in it, and if you don't, you could get penalty of fine. You can get put in jail.
I don't know if you saw Zeb.
Yep.
But and you're on your phone just now, but like the girl that we're definitely going to get to, the 99 girl, the entire time she was in line at this Q&A, she was like jumping around, like doing all these crazy hand motion. Like she couldn't stand still for a second.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She was bouncing around back there, dude. Her and those two other chicks back there, they were all over the place. One of them was wearing a mask. So
I saw that too. That was crazy.
So I've been to a few of these events, and typically the ones that wear masks, obviously they're retards, but typically the ones that wear masks, like the little surgeon mask, typically get up and do a little bit of heckling in the show, but there wasn't really much of that here. Usually they get kicked out afterwards too.
It's a very serious offense, and then on top of that, you don't get certain opportunities. You don't get loans. You can't get a government job, a state job. It basically makes you almost damn near a convicted felon. So if you're not in the Selective Service, it messes you up as a man. But as a woman, it's you don't have to go into it. So I look at it that, like, I look at it like this. If women are going to go ahead and be able to vote, I think they need to have skin in the game. And I find it ridiculous that a woman can put someone into office that will send a man to war when she doesn't have skin in the game. So that's my thing when it comes to voting. And let's be honest here. Most women don't really care about politics. They don't really care that much. If they do vote, they typically tend to vote left. They tend to vote single.
Okay, a couple things. Dude, I was back there panning the camera, right?
Yeah. He was all over the place.
He was all over the place, dog.
Yeah. In the moment, I'm watching it live at the event, so it was fine. But like watching it here now, I thought that earlier. I was like, man, I feel bad for you.
Dude. I couldn't. No, we ain't hating. We ain't hating, dude.
They probably just got here.
Yeah, they just got here. Welcome though. No, we're not hating. Dude, he was all over the place, back and forth. I was manning the cameras, dude. I was trying to keep up with him. I was like, dude, bro, like, give me some of that energy. I need some rest, and so I can get there. This person said, John Tyler said, they had no idea how much they were helping Myron and all of us by showing up in the first place. The only way they could have really fought us is for no one to show up at all. They don't get that. Well, yeah, that's exactly right. That's what we were talking about earlier when we were reviewing the video when he was outside doing the Q&A. It's like it's provocative on purpose because the ones that are going to be provoked are the ones going to stop and ask the questions, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if it's provocative one way and they don't stop, then there's no one going to be there. Maybe a few people, some Myron fans. Those probably, if I had to guess, I would say there were probably a couple hundred people out there. There were maybe 15 to 20 that would have been, on the side of Myron in that case.
Yeah, and it goes to say, like, some of these people that, like, kind of make their bones by getting their name out there, by doing something like this, by showing up to an event and basically, like, making the host look stupid, you can count the amount of people that have successfully done that on one hand. And, like, that happened to Charlie Kirk one time. I mean, I don't remember the guy's name, but there was one guy who kind of, took Charlie Kirk to church, so to speak. But yeah, typically, if you disagree with someone and you go to their live event, you are only helping them. Either A, because you're making it look better because more people are there, you're paying to be there, and even the people that engage to try and shut them down, they do this professionally, and you're not going to get the upper hand.
Yeah, that's right. On this topic though, I agree with Myron. We should repeal the 19th. Honestly, we should probably repeal the entire 20th century, but I don't necessarily agree with his approach in equating it to having skin in the game with being drafted, right, with the military. I think there's a better way to go about it in that women and men are not the same, and we should have one vote per household and not necessarily one vote per person, because we are not individuals on an island. We are a community. We are a society, and therefore, moving forward, we should treat it as such. Now, he makes this case when so somebody asked, so what's y'all's purpose in doing this video then? Yeah, it's just a reaction video. That's how things work. On top of, I was there, and then afterwards, Myron gave me the opportunity to kind of interview him, talk about them. That is also on the channel. I think it's the most recently uploaded video. Dude, completely charitable guy. Nothing bad to say about him. Other than, I mean, obviously there's some political and religious disagreements that we have, but from the aspect of grinding, he's definitely there. Hopefully that answers the question. We're here.
Someone says there isn't a more closeted man than Myron.
I don't know if he's gay, dude. I've met a lot of these people. There's a couple of them that I would say are gay and would be closeted. I don't know. I don't think he's there.
I don't think so. And that's the thing. That's like
he's like one of the few
that's what
exceptions,
women
I would
say
think.
About anyone that like criticizes them. Is they say, "Oh, you're insecure, shrimp dick, gay." Like those are the only things they've got to go.
Oh, dude, there was a boomer in the audience the whole time. He kept trying to heckle. I was like, "Get on the mic, boomer."
Is that what he? At first, I thought he was heckling too, but then he like chimed in for when he started talking about like black people. And it almost sounded like he was agreeing with him. I was very confused by it. I mean,
he was super Spanish too. I couldn't understand him.
He was Spanish as hell, and I couldn't understand what he was saying.
I couldn't understand. He was speaking English, but it wasn't English.
It barely.
And told him, look, you got to pick one of the two, and had that candid conversation, we'd be better off.
Hey, Myron, thanks for coming to South Carolina.
Hey,
great to see you. I had an
Ronald Ho
observation.
Chi
It's probably
Minh says,
to you, but I
"Skip
was
to the
wondering about your
boomer."
take on
He
it.
wasn't on camera.
For men
He's
who
talking
are
about this one, probably.
antisocial or have personality disorders or have mental illness, they typically end up in jail or attached to the legal system somehow. For women in that situation, they get married, they get divorced, and they get a lot of money, and they get set for life. So
This guy sounds like he's
just
been
want to make
burnt.
sure that people, young men, are aware of that phenomenon.
He's an alimony man.
I mean, it's true. I mean, if a girl's pretty, like she can literally, even if she's, this is why girls that are bimbos can still find a husband or still get married or still have a good life because unfortunately, men don't really care about a woman's ability to create excess resources or her competency. Men don't care about that. So yeah, that makes sense. And then the guy gets with the girl and she's batshit crazy, like, well, who cares? She's hot. You know what I mean? So like, that's how men operate, which is one of our faults. But
trying, bro.
All right. Well, like I said, I'm thankful for USC having you out, Myron. I've been listening to you just because, first I've been listening to, Nick Fuentes, and he's just had you on.
shout
You
out
had
to
him
the
on.
Vipers.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna listen to this guy the first time. The second time, he goes major crash out, dog.
Yeah, it was unoptical.
It was very unoptical, but I will we'll get to it. We're gonna do this one. We're gonna go to a second question immediately after.
Is that technically a mullet?
I guess so.
Because
he used it as a grown out mullet.
Because I was in line and I saw him from behind.
You thought it was a chick?
So no. I thought he was a guy, but like when he started talking, his voice and the hair made me think he was like. I mean, clearly, I figured he was kind of on the spectrum initially, but I thought he was like 35 or something.
Yeah, Ninja asked if he's a
face
plant.
and
I
was
don't
like,
think so, man. I think he was very. He was significantly tismed.
Yeah, mullet crash out.
He had you
You'll
on
see.
you had him on Fresh and Fit, and just going off of that, I just kind of want to ask about what's your take on kind of the trad wife movement and how I personally think it's kind of astroturfed, where it's almost just like this, like they've sort of like fetishized it, where it's like even the trad wives, if you want to put it that way, many of them still have like an OnlyFans account, many of them just like post way too much on social media, and as a young Catholic, it's just like even the girls that I interact with, it's like they're still infected. Even the trad wives are like still infected with like first and second wave feminism to the point where it's like I just don't know if I'm going to be able to find a wife at all.
Yeah, no, and that precisely what you described is why a lot of guys go abroad. But yeah, no. To answer that, I agree with you, man. I mean, Matt Walsh, I talked about this as well. He called out Megyn Kelly, thankfully. Because Megyn Kelly is, what I would call, you use the term astroturf. There you go. There's an astroturf trad wife right there, right? She sits there and says, I'm a conservative, but in reality, she's just a feminist in hiding, right? And a lot of them are. And I think women have kind of caught on just with the explosion of popularity of like this type of content and like guys finally getting their balls and, talking about problems in the dating space, where a lot of women have kind of like pivoted and realized, oh, this is a new grift. I can kind of come in here and be like a trad woman. But the reality is that a lot of these women are just feminists undercover. So I agree.
Yeah, I think Myron's right. It's definitely a trend that's coming off. The one I think about is Nala. I don't know if you know who that is.
I've heard the
red-haired
name.
chick that was doing OF and she became Christian. Now she's a trad wife.
Yeah. I know exactly who you're talking about.
I think she caught the waves. This OF thing is kind of dying out now, and not entirely, obviously, but it's kind of dying out now. So they have to go find another grift, and that grift is going to be trad wife content. There's been about 3 or 4 of them really recently, like within the last month or so, that have been outed as fake, right? Specifically on Twitter, where they kind of put out this trad wife content, and then it comes to find out that they're single at home and still living with their parents, right? This is the projection, if you will, from the left.
Yeah, I know. I heard of one where it's like this podcast called Girls Gone Bible, and it's these 2 like smoke shows that are they're divorced. They're reading the Bible.
I
in
blocked
like
their
crop
stuff.
tops.
Is that what it is, dude? I blocked them because it kept coming up, and I was like, dude, no.
Yeah. If you're a trad wife and there's a camera anywhere around, it's fake. Correct. If you're seeing it online, it's like the double slit experiment. If it's observed, it's not real.
Yeah. The trad wife stuff is kind of. Yeah, I mean, if it's online, then you're not a trad wife, right? Now maybe you can have a few exceptions for some of the Amish stuff that's coming out. but they're obviously trad wives. Does that make sense? So if you want to compare and contrast the psyop trad wife to the actual trad wife, go find some of these Amish channels where they actually churn butter the entire time. They're live streaming for like 2 hours of just churning butter. It's like, not that I've watched them, but I know it exists.
I didn't even know it existed. Where'd they get the camera from? Yeah, they're filming it on a log or something.
I think Menarches don't use electricity. But anyway,
Mennonites don't.
Mennonites, I don't know, some of them. There's a lot of sect up there. Some are more strict than the others.
Agree with you on that.
Where are we at? I said we're going to a crash out here. Stick with me for a second. I'll get a production team here pretty soon.
If you like working for free, we have openings.
First happened on this campus roughly about a month ago, where a guy named Nate Baker.
Thought it would. So, yeah, but they share my views. I mean, my girl, she knows what it is, right? So, yeah.
All right, cool. That's all I had. It's cool.
Cool, no problem.
Stick around for this one.
All right, I know I asked a question before, but just to preface this, I know this is going to piss off probably everybody in the room, but you said that this was kind of open mic, kind of you've talked about the JQ stuff, you talked about women, you talked about that. So what I want to bring up is 2 incidents. The first happened on this campus roughly about a month ago, where a guy named Nate Baker, as a junior, was just plowed over and ruthlessly killed by some illegal immigrant in a car, and he was wanted by ICE. All of that stuff. But the real incident I want to talk about is what happened in Frisco, Texas about a month ago, which was the murder of Austin Metcalf by Carmelo Anthony. And why has Donald Trump not said a single word about this issue? How long are we going to let white people be murdered in the streets before we do something? I am tired of this.
Well, no, I mean, I see some of you guys are laughing, but the reality is,
Would
it
you
goes the
pause
other
it
way
real quick?
around. You guys,
So I'll say this: watching it now on video, it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as it was in person. I involuntarily face palmed at that because when he said I'm tired of it, it literally shook the room. It was so loud.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you're saying it's not as bad here as it was in person?
It was definitely and now that you see is because when I saw it in real life, I saw it from behind. I saw the back of his head.
Yeah.
And it just it's different. Kind of seeing how shy he is, and obviously the volume is more low because we're hearing it through all the processing and whatnot, as opposed to how it's it literally the volume peaked in the auditorium and whatever. It just looks like more dorky this time around. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's definitely unoptical still, but it's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah, it's definitely unoptical. The problem is he's not necessarily wrong. And kudos to Myron.
But it's how he said it. It's how it came across.
Myron did a very, very good job on this follow up to kind of carry the conversation, but also kind of point out the obvious. Here, we'll just watch it. How about that?
First happened on this campus roughly about a month ago, where a guy named Nate Baker, as a junior, was just plowed over and ruthlessly killed by some.
Well, no, I mean, I see some of you guys are laughing, but the reality is, if it was the other way around, you guys would be burning down the city. If we're going to be honest here, right? Got the black one in the back screaming and laughing at him.
And I don't want to make this look like
hold
I'm
on. Let me, because this is the thing, because a couple of the people here are laughing at your rage, but I find it interesting that if it was the other way around, they can burn down a city like Minneapolis over George Fentanyl, but if he goes ahead and expresses some rage, you guys laugh at him, which is interesting to me because they can't be honest about this, where there is seriously a problem in America where a small percentage of people are committing a majority of the violent crime. What? Black men account for maybe 8% of the population, but they're committing something like 50 to 60% of the violent crime, and they can't talk about this, right? So I do think that there's a problem here where we need to address black culture. We need to address the degeneracy. We got to address the violent gang and rap culture, and it's an issue. And the thing is that guys like him can't speak up about it. He speaks up about it, and then we got black girls in the back laughing at him. But, you know, when they kill a black man, y'all are rioting all over the place and burning cities down, and nobody says anything to you guys. So I think he has a right to be pissed off. I mean, I was pissed off when I saw it.
I mean, I just have kind of a follow-up to that. I just have a follow-up to that. You know, you talking about this is kind of like a socioeconomic thing, a culture thing. Well, if that's true, why have the crime rates kind of stayed the same since the 60s, since the civil rights movement even? You know, before rap music, you know, speaking on that rap music, why doesn't rap music make white people go just murder people in the streets? You know, is this a culture thing, or is this just simply a race issue?
There's a couple things. Now, this is going to be very controversial, but it's an IQ thing too. It's an IQ thing, and this is what's banned.
Oh, Myron's a Nazi. Chris said, I'm half black, and I'll admit black culture is terrible. You're such a Nazi. Stop being a Nazi, dog. But yeah, I mean, Myron makes his case here. Josh, you're in the way. Yeah, Myron makes the case. I mean, he says I think he says the obvious here, but there's so much pushback. And we kind of touch on this. So, like I said earlier, I had a minute to speak with him after all of this goes on, but we kind of touch on this too, where there is an intelligence issue that comes up across race. It's just biological. That's just the way it is. And I think this will be viewed, the denial of race will be viewed much like transgenderism is viewed now. And I don't know, 5, maybe 10 years. It's going to take a little bit of time, but there's an obvious biological issue. Maybe not issue, but biological differences that need to be addressed for us to kind of move forward. Not to say, I'm not necessarily arguing superiority one way or the other, but you can't conflate something to be something else when it's not.
To say that the discussion on race and IQ will be akin to the transgenderism one in 10 years, I think that's crazy. I definitely think more people, I mean, people kind of instinctually
You're right,
know
2
that.
years.
I don't think so, dude. I think like there's certain people that are alive today that are young people that won't, no matter how much footage from Minneapolis you show them, no matter how much footage from Portland you show them, what their Twitter feed looks like, where you see video after video of like people in the Middle East chopping each other's heads off, black people in America setting fire and punching old ladies in the face for no reason. It's only going to change their mind once it happens to them. Unfortunately, I think it's getting worse. It's getting much worse. But I think by the time that those people understand it, it'll already be too late.
I don't think it has to get to that point, dude. I think it's going to happen before then.
I think it will too, but I think it'll be like 50 years.
50?
I know this is, and here's the thing. This is something we criticize the boomers for. We were talking about this about Kennard and even Joe, who's been on our podcast, is they so desperately want Donald Trump to be the savior that everyone says he is, because they want to see it happen in their lifetime. And I get where you're coming from. I don't think that's what's going on here with you.
Okay,
but
I
definitely think we need to be realistic.
Let me try to lay this out
timetables.
really briefly. It simply boils down to biology. And so if we have a basis of biology and we have over a century of studies built up over time that we've done meta-analysis on, that gender is different or sex is different, it's the same thing, and that race is different, the dominoes are just going to fall as they are. And so as that first domino falls, which is at this point transgenderism and just biology in general, then the next thing is going to fall, which is race realism. And I know you disagree with me on that, but I don't care. I'm right. Malarkey, what's up, brother? Good to see you streaming. I sat next to you at dinner. Should talk about how insightful the conversation was at dinner. Also, I'm black and astonished at how we commit most crime. Yeah, no, dude, again, yeah, maybe we can talk about the dinner. Josh was there too.
Was he the 47 hat guy? Were you the guy with the 47 hat on?
We'll get a comment from him in a second.
Comment.
But yeah, no, the discussion was good, dude. Again, Myron is extremely generous, very charitable. I've said that multiple times. Sound like a broken record,
Super
but it's
nice,
so true, dude.
Super nice.
He's on the grind. I don't know where we're at, but we'll talk to this one. You are happily married until you're not. Then you are subject to all the negative ways that women can treat men and subject to the laws that will men, favor men. Yeah, I think that's correct.
Oh, okay, yeah. I know who that is.
Okay, what's up, brother?
How's it going, man?
But yeah, that's correct. I mean, lawfare exists, and we believe that people are inherently evil, and it takes effort to do good and to become something that is good for society.
Yes.
And so when you aren't, lawfare exists in which that you can get ahead, whether that's through lawsuits through insurance or alimony or lawfare against a previous spouse. Yeah.
Well, and a big part of it too is also the physical aspect. Is for all of human history, there have been relationships where the man never laid his hands on the woman in a punishing or any kind of way. But the thing is that the woman always had that in the back of their mind. It was the nuclear option essentially. But like basically, you know, like especially these days, the fact that like women are given every advantage in the relationship. If the woman wants to get divorced and take half the money, she can get that no matter what. Like in the state of New York, and I get it's just New York, but if you get divorced as a man, it's not something you can ignore. Like there's a legal basis. Like if the woman just files papers, you are getting a divorce. Like you're at the mercy of her and the court, and you have to pay her legal fees. She can go behind your back and get a lawyer, and then you get the invoice.
And it's for no reason at all.
Right.
Because she felt like it.
Yes, exactly. So the power has been like when it, you know, I'm using divorce as a specific example, but society has basically catered to women too much to where people that aren't Christian, people that you know, they're sort of more given to their natural tendencies. Women are given more to their natural tendencies, which nowadays you're seeing is a lot of vindictiveness.
Yeah, lawfare is Jewish at its core. Not the justice system in itself, but lawfare against someone for the feels of it. Ninja says this, first of all, Josh, you know what OSS is? I mean, I know what it is, but I don't know what it stands for. Maybe I can throw it in chat. OSS is, I guess, the Fresh and Fit Myron Gaines kind of a club they have. I don't know if y'all have group chats going on. Dude, throw me in there. I'll play ball.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of like the agency, but I guarantee that's not it.
No, that's not it. That's why we need morality rooted in Christianity, get the government out of church sacraments.
Amen.
I think we need to get
we need to get chat sacraments into the government.
That's exactly right. I know there would be some disagreement here, but the West is Christendom. It was founded on Christianity, and it ought to be founded on Christianity and continue to be founded on Christianity. Otherwise, it deteriorates, which is what we're seeing today. The liberalization of religion and government in itself is kind of falling in on itself.
Malarkey222, he was the guy that sat between us at dinner that night. He asked if we're going to be at UNCA next week for Andrew Wilson. That's the religious debater guy they were talking about, I assume?
I have a film scheduled for Monday evening. I'm really debating on trying to actually make that. I like a lot of what Andrew does. I think he's a very, very good debater. My issue, I have he's orthodox, one, but two, he's an extreme utilitarian, which I would push back on, though I don't necessarily think he's wrong on most issues. Will I be there? I'd like to. We'll see.
I probably won't be. Can you pull up Ninja of Spades' last comment? So this is something I think is actually very important. He says, no, the government is dependent upon church people. The church should be free of the government. I actually think, here's the thing. I kind of disagree, but conceding the point that the government is dependent upon church people, that is actually good. That is actually an advantage. Because if they're dependent on you, that means you have a certain level of power over them and you can leverage it to get you what you want. The problem is nobody does that. They just blindly vote for the less liberal person, blindly vote for the most vaguely conservative or Christian politician, as
Nick.
opposed to demanding more.
Okay, Nick, we got old Fuentes in here.
We certainly do.
But
since
let's jump back
since
into
the
this.
60s, since the civil rights movement, even before rap music. Speaking on that rap music, why doesn't rap music make white people go just murder people in the streets? Is this a culture thing, or is this just simply a race issue?
There's a couple things. Now, this is going to be very controversial, but it's an IQ thing too. It's an IQ thing, and this is what's banned a lot of the times. That I got to we're on YouTube, so I'll kind of say this in code word, but it's a multitude of different things. It's culture, it's IQ, it's heritage. All these things play a role. But yeah, there's a bunch of different issues, right? It's a two-tier justice system. There's so many different things that play into it. But I have a saying: around the blacks, never relax. So,
dude, he said that so many
take from
times.
that what you will.
Living around white people is not a human right. You don't get to live with us all the time. All right, this is our country that we built. Yeah, white immigrants built this country. Thank you. Read the Naturalization Act of 1790.
No, it's the truth. This country was founded by white Protestant
And yes,
men.
I understand that black people have been a part of this country since the beginning because of slavery.
I mean, it's a little bit of a crash out. Obviously, I would handle it a little bit differently, but Myron acknowledges that he's correct. He even goes a little bit further and says it's a white Protestant nation where WASP built this country. Myron is correct, and it wouldn't exist without white Protestants specifically.
Slavery, and I'm not.
I think the girls over there don't like what you're saying.
And I know that. Yeah. Yeah, and the logic.
Oh yeah, you can hear him freaking out in the background. Those three chicks sitting together and towards the back. I guess this is what Malarkey's talking about. White girl in the front freaked out when you said you don't get to live with us.
Malarkey, type this in the comments. Were you talking about the white girl that was there, like at the very front, who was like part of the event almost? She was clearly like a conservative girl. Is that who you're talking about?
Oh, the blonde chick?
Yeah. I wonder if that's who he's talking about. Because he says freak out. That could mean like she was concerned, freaked out.
And, at the time, maybe the better choice should have been to just send them back to Africa. Because clearly they can't integrate in a proper society and live with us without just murdering each other in the streets. So it really kind of makes you think, well, now, it's baked in now. What can we do about it? And, some people like, I watch Nick, like Jason Whitlock, he had that thing with Jason Whitlock where Jason Whitlock says, oh, well, if they're just Christian, man, then, things would be different. But then you look at.
You don't think Nick wouldn't approve of this, would he, Josh?
No, absolutely
not. It's bad optics. He's definitely got a little bit of the tism. That kid should have said nothing. I don't know about.
He shouldn't have said nothing.
He shouldn't have said nothing. It definitely should have come off differently.
What he needed to do was pose it in a question and let Myron answer it, and do it in a more. You can even raise your voice a little bit, but you have to do it in a way because clearly. This guy's autistic. This guy is clearly on the spectrum, and it's almost like he is imitating emotion because he knows that's how he should feel. It's how he does feel, but I can tell like raising his voice is not something this guy naturally does. He's clearly imitating specifically Nick Fuentes. Or Fuentes.
Her and I were both agreeing with him up until he said you don't get to live with white people. Okay, yeah. So once he finishes, dude, there was some faculty there. I guess faculty staff, one of the others, kind of went to the cops and essentially flagged him. So if he was going to walk out, all the cops moved to the side of the room that he was on, and I was just fully expecting him to be escorted out. I'd like to get his name and see if he's going to face any repercussions. I don't know. I'm assuming he's a student at school. I'd like to get his name and kind of follow up on that and see if the school does anything about this. That would be very interesting if anybody knows him.
Countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo, that country's 95% Catholic, roughly. And they have one of the highest.
The cops were cool, though. The faculty were a lot of douchers. There was a lot of douchers. There was a couple of them, but we're.
Did you ever speak to that woman who was sitting like in a lawn chair or like a rocking chair, like in the front, but like facing the audience?
Yeah. Ninja said for his own safety. Maybe. I think they were something. The faculty there were more concerned about him than any retaliation on him. I think they were actually trying to side him, if you will. But no, the chick in the front, I think they have to have a certain amount of faculty there. There was like 8 or 9 or 10 people there. There was a white lady in front that was kind of watching the audience. What was the question?
Did you speak to her at all?
Oh yeah. So as soon as the event was over, as soon as they turned the mics off, she was gone, dude. She basically sprinted out of there. She was one of the first ones out of the back door, and she was sitting at the very, very front.
I was looking at her specifically a few times just to see how she reacted, and it was a lot of like, yeah.
Highest murder rates in the world, and their country's it's a failed state, and it just really makes you think. It's like, it's not a culture issue, it's not socioeconomics, it's not religion. Then what is it?
Yeah, no, I mean IQ does play a huge role in it, and that's the thing that people don't like to discuss. But yeah, no, that's true, man. The truth hurts sometimes for people. But yeah, they've done meta-analysis on this with IQ and race, and the data doesn't lie. In general, black people tend to have lower IQs, so it is what it is.
All right, I got 2 quick questions. One about politics. I'll start with that, and then one about women. I'm a big MAGA guy, big Trump guy, but there's been a lot of stuff opened my eyes recently. When he did the anti-Semitism thing, like I talked about, I didn't really like that. Also with Real ID brought by the Patriot Act in 2005, just like that he's going to implement that.
You know who co-wrote the Patriot Act, right?
I do not.
It was a guy named Mike Chertoff.
Gotcha.
Which dual citizen.
Yeah.
Dual citizen.
Well, what do you,
did you say you're trying to process how am I going to get this out without getting kicked off of YouTube? Funny. But yeah, so I'll skip ahead. Let me see if anybody else is halfway interesting. Oh yeah, this chick, dude. This chick was raging the entire time. Oh, that's that guy. Sorry guys, hold with me 1 second. We'll get there. Oh, that's her red hair in the background.
With you, right? So make them earn it, man. Like they're the ones that want to be a missus.
Danny, what's up?
Shit, you know damn well you have to work for it.
Who's that? Was he there?
No clue.
Oh.
So you said you had to work for it by courting her in the beginning, correct?
Yes.
So what do you mean by working for it? What exactly did you do?
As far as like, what does the guy do?
Yeah.
Well, a man has to learn how to be attractive.
Hon, I hate to break it to you, but you don't need to learn how to be attractive. You just
Really?
are.
Okay.
And
dude, Boomer Tech, dude, the video's low quality. I'll have to figure that out. Next time I'll just download the whole thing and react directly off of it. Right now it's coming from internet, which I don't know why it's low. Josh, get out of my way. I don't know why it's auto. Anyway.
For my next question.
Boomer Tech. Yeah, Boomer Tech, dude. Sorry. We'll get there. Somebody donate in super chat, and I'll start paying somebody to do this thing. Can somebody explain what's going on, please? This channel just appeared on my feed, and I don't know what the story is. The story is we went to a Myron Gaines event. He had the opportunity to sit down with him and talk to him. This is Myron Gaines, co-host of Fresh and Fit podcast. We're just kind of doing a little bit of react from his showing at USC yesterday. Was it yesterday? 2 days ago.
2 days ago.
And we're just kind of doing a little react content. You're welcome to stay. You're welcome to subscribe, like content, like the channel, all this good stuff. We go live.
John,
when do we go live? Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Why even
Some
say
days.
it? We just do it whenever
Some
we
days,
can.
Wednesday,
Typically,
Thursday, Friday, around
definitely
2:30.
on Fridays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, roughly, but 3 times a week, definitely. John Tyner says that he thinks she's cute, and Ninja of Spades says you can't fix her, bro.
Yeah, I think this one's unfixable, dog.
That's something you ain't. Okay, I want to bring up talking about.
Let me address that first part real fast. So, and then you can go ahead and, because I know you're probably going to an ad hominem attack, but that's fine. So let's address the first thing. You said you don't have to learn how to be attractive, you just are. So I've heard a couple of women say this actually, and it's always very interesting to me, right? I always say privilege is invisible to those that have it. And obviously for you, you don't understand the privilege you have. Men, unlike women, are not born with value.
That's such a good saying.
That's a good point.
He says this a lot, and I've watched some of his content more recently. He says that a lot. You know, your privilege is invisible to those who have it. I wouldn't go. I mean, it's obviously not a completely blanket statement, but as a generality, yes, I think that is largely true.
attractive. We have to learn,
especially in a world where everybody wants to be the oppressed, because that is virtuous in itself, or it is perceived to be virtuous in itself.
Even like, I definitely think, for example, with illegal immigrants, they need to get out. Like we don't need to sacrifice our lives to save theirs. But I do empathize with them, because it's like, we get to live in a place where we can have meat every day if we want it. They don't even have that in Mexico. So I get where they're coming from, but it's at the same time, it's not our problem.
Addressed properly. We have to learn how to go to the gym. We have to learn how to be competent. We have to be able to have certain things in our background to make us attractive to women, because women look for things that take time to acquire, resources, etc. So for women, when you guys turn 18, the life is your oyster. You can literally go everywhere. You can do whatever you want. But men don't get these opportunities unless we make something of ourselves. So when women say things like, oh, you just are attractive, like, no, it's a learned skill. Men are not just born attractive. They have to figure this stuff out through a lot of turmoil, trial, and error, and sacrifice. So I always find it interesting when women say that, because we don't operate on a
cameraman sucking it up.
You guys are born with your value. We must
Dude, he was all over that stage.
How are we born with our value? Please explain.
How are women born with their value?
Yeah.
You
Well,
have a
you
vagina
say
and
you had
titties.
to learn all that shit, right?
You literally have a vagina and titties. You are born with value.
Born with value for
Yes.
having cut off your dick and you're the same person I am.
Not really. I'd still be a guy.
Like, anyways, I want to talk about voting.
Okay. All right. What's it? You want to talk about what
You
now?
said we don't have skin in the game.
Yeah, they don't really.
So
no.
your skin in the game is the fact that you have to go to war, and
Yes,
you're
I'm in-
unhappy with that.
So she kind of goes down this route. And I think I said earlier is I would have taken a different route to argue against the 19th Amendment, specifically for cases like this. You know, I think men and women are different. I think the voting system is. I disagree with democracy in itself because it denies hierarchy, which I kind of mentioned to Myron later on. That I think he would agree with me if we actually sat down and had that conversation. Why she talk like that? I think he would agree with me if we sat down and had that conversation. But for the sake of it, yeah, the 19th Amendment should be repealed. I wouldn't make the case by military or draft.
She said, or Clave says, why does she talk like that? She was with that group of black girls that was just yapping the whole time. So
Dude,
it's
they were
clearly
so
like
loud,
she's
man.
surrounding herself with those types.
They were so loud. Oh, we'll get to it. Myron calls them out too. What's he call them? Shaniqua?
Yeah.
He said, Shaniqua, you being too loud or something like that. It was hilarious.
Never said that.
Well, you're complaining.
Conduct violence. That's how civilized we are, which is obviously awesome because all the infrastructure points, right? Why is it that men are the garbage collectors, men are the electricians, men are the power linesmen, men are the plumbers, men are the ones that literally keep society going so that you can enjoy the first world conveniences you do, right? So you can go ahead and have your bullshit psychology degree or whatever it is that you're studying. So the reality is that men make the world go round, and we civilize it to the point where you guys forgot that men really run shit, and we give you the opportunities that you have. So for you to sit there and be able to say something as ridiculous as, can you even beat me up, and you're questioning it, that goes to show how naive you are about the propensity of men to actually conduct violence. That's.
I want to note one thing, dude. I didn't realize how tall Myron was. Dude's like 6'4", 6'5".
Dude, I was like
I'm not
genuinely
small, but
intimidated.
he's a pretty big dude.
He's insanely tall.
He's a little bit thinner, but dude, the height makes up for it.
It's kind of funny because someone in the comments talked about how this girl, we haven't gotten to it yet in the clip, but she talks about how she could beat up her brother. It makes me wonder about the brother because you can't tell on the camera. She was like 3 feet tall. She was insanely short.
Yeah. Ghost says, yeah, she was so mad at she admitted to beating up her brother. It's like, how do you know you beat up your brother? Are you a man beater?
For real though, yeah.
That's how civilized we are, which is obviously awesome because you're completely unaware of the savagery that men can, put on a society.
Oh, I'm aware.
And
because
you're not,
look at
because
our
you wouldn't have said
country
something
today.
so ridiculous if you were.
I'm aware. Trust. Most women get raped, sexually assaulted. 99% of women get raped and sexually assaulted. You do know that, right? And because of
99%,
men's
yeah.
savagery.
That's insane.
Holy
dude.
crap.
She said that. She said that. I had to stop, dude. Did I process that right?
Let's be real.
Dude, I was fully expecting her to kind of walk that back and give another number, but she just kept going, dude. 99%.
I'll be honest. I wouldn't be surprised at all if she doesn't know what a percentage means. Like if she doesn't know what it's like maintenance in Africa. She doesn't know what that
per
means.
capita.
Yeah, exactly.
If you were.
I'm aware, trust. Most women get raped, sexually assaulted. 99% of women get raped and sexually assaulted. You know that, right? And because of
99%,
men's
yeah.
savagery.
Holy
She
crap.
probably has that definition
Because
where
of
it's
men.
like if they look
Women
into
need
the
to hide.
definition.
There's a rape epidemic going on.
Like,
So anyway,
Myron doesn't even know how to respond to that. I wouldn't know how to respond to that. Like, what do you respond to somebody that says 99% of women have been raped? There's no response to that. I mean, no. Fact check crazy? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure if I point to any woman in this room, they could tell me a rape story.
sure, maybe their fantasy. Who knows? I don't know.
Their fantasy?
I don't know. a lot of women read sex novels like that.
I want you to look at our country today that men have ran and look at how shit it is.
We're the strongest superpower in the world. What?
No, we're not.
Yeah, we
No,
are.
we're not.
Yeah, we are.
You know, countries are warning their people to stay away from us.
What?
Because of how shitty we are.
Do you realize people try to come here illegally every single
Who,
day
Denmark?
to become Americans and/or get to live here with
You do
diminished
realize-
benefits, even if because they're not documented? Like you do
Well,
realize,
you
like I used to.
undocumented immigrants.
I used to work in immigration back in the day. I know this intimately. People literally try to sneak here under intense conditions and die a lot of the times while trying to come here.
That's
this
funny
is the best
to
country in the
just
world. Again, more privilege that you.
Oh, no.
That
Bro,
men make,
that's great.
Ninja said if we had 99 SA stats, we wouldn't have low reflection. I mean,
that's good.
Oh, that's good, dude. That's pretty funny.
the world go around, and we civilized it to the point where you guys forgot that men really run shit, and we give you the opportunities that you have. So for you to sit there and be able to say something is ridiculous.
Stick around for the answer.
Yeah, you'll
for
find
you to
out,
beat me up and you're
Clave.
questioning it. That goes to show how naive you are about the propensity of men to actually conduct violence. That's how civilized we are, which is obviously awesome because you're completely unaware of the savagery that men can, put on a society.
Oh, I'm aware.
And
because
you're not,
look at
because
our
you wouldn't have said
country
something
today.
so ridiculous if you were.
I'm aware.
We already did this. Let me skip forward just a touch.
I'm pretty sure if I point to any woman in this room, they could tell me a rape story.
Sure. Maybe their fantasy. Who knows? I don't know.
Their fantasy?
I don't know. A lot of women read sex novels like that.
I want you to look at our country today that men have ran and look at how shit it is.
We're the strongest superpower in the world. What?
No, we're not.
Yeah,
It's
No,
worth
we're
watching
not.
twice, Josh.
Yeah, we are.
You know, countries are warning their people to stay away from us
What?
because of how shitty we are.
Do you realize people try to come here illegally every single day to become Americans and/or get to live here with
You do
diminished
realize-
benefits, even if because they're not documented? Like you do
Oh, you
realize,
wanna
like
start on undocumented immigrants?
I used to work in immigration back in the day. I know this intimately. People literally try to sneak here under intense conditions and die a lot of the times while trying to come here. This is the best country in the world.
This is
Again,
not
more
the
privilege
best
that you
country
don't
in the world,
understand.
I'll tell you that much. I'm an immigrant.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So that proves my point even more.
I didn't come here willingly.
You're here. Like.
I did not come here willingly.
Oh, okay. How'd you come here then?
I came here because they paid me to.
Yeah, send her back, bro. God damn, man.
Oh, I was
Send her
hoping you
back,
could
man.
hear it.
You can't hear it on here. So I'm in the back running this camera, trying to keep up with Myron, pacing back and forth on stage. And she says that, and I go, send her back. I thought it was hilarious, dude. And Myron picked up on it, which is awesome.
Yeah, send her back, bro. God damn, man. Send her back, man.
You're talking about send
This
her
is why we
back,
gotta
yet
build
you
a
a
wall.
person of color?
I guess we're no longer getting the best and the brightest. What the hell? This is why I'm so big on.
Called her
you know,
retarded,
Back
too.
with you a person of color?
This is why I'm so big on. We need to go harder with immigration.
I'm sorry, are you not black?
I don't know. It depends on the day. Some days people call me black. Some days people call me Arab. I don't know what it is, man. So.
Y'all looking at the same motherfucker I am? Because he's black, right?
Oh man.
He a person of color, right?
She
has to
chirping
turn
to her friends.
She has to turn around for validation. That's what it boils down to, Josh.
He a person of color, right? Shut the fuck up. I ain't talking to your
Right.
ass.
I get more.
Cash
gray
me
hairs
outside.
talking
How
to
about
women
that?
than dealing with cartel members.
Yeah, he's got the same hair color and everything.
Okay, so what's your last point? Because there's a bunch of people behind you, but
My point is,
yeah.
you're a pussy.
Okay, great one.
But she's still going.
Wow. Okay. I thought you'd come up with something wittier or funnier than that one. Like mom jokes. Are we in like 1997 or what? What's going on here? Where did she immigrate from? Retardistan? Holy.
Holy.
This is our
That was
college
good.
education system.
Zinger. Certified
God
zinger.
damn.
I don't remember this chick.
All right.
She was one of these like vague until the end types where it's like I didn't know
I'm
if
a
she was
big fan of
supportive
the
against it until like
podcast.
halfway through.
I just had a couple questions that I'm just kind of curious about.
Yeah.
So you said a little bit earlier that like high value men are like celebrities and athletes and stuff. Like, what qualities make
Josh, you
them
want me to
high
play your
value?
question?
Well, I didn't say that.
I don't
but,
know, dude.
You know,
I
who else to give some
I'll play the
people who know
I'll play
me-
the answer. How about that?
Play the yeah. That's fine.
That's a damn good question.
That's a good question.
I
Maybe
do
said
think
this
that there's a
one's
great
fixable.
noticing going on. I think the war in Gaza has kind of exposed a lot of Americans to, who really runs this government. The fact that Israel's been able to do the things that they've been able to do over the last year and a half prove that our government is compromised and it's occupied. I mean, look around right now. A lot of you guys are college students. Some of you guys.
I feel like this is obvious. I don't know why people want to deny this. I mean, even the people that do occupy it admit to occupying it, and then the ones that aren't those people want to deny that those people occupy the government. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and it's basically like if every single person running our government was a dual citizen with China,
there would be an issue.
Wouldn't that be a little? Isn't that weird? Just be like, wow, why China? Why does someone who has citizenship in this country and China, they're all in the government?
I think
That's
America
strange.
should have an exclusivity citizenship where you are not allowed to have dual citizenship, period. If you want to come
I'm
here,
okay with that.
You have to send back all of your other citizenships. I don't care where they come from.
Actually, before you play, I was actually thinking about this. Something earlier brought this up where it's like, I do think we should have some sort of like, people scoff at the social credit system that they have in China. I think some sort of like social citizenship status where it's like, because someone was talking in the comments like, well, how long does it, when we were talking about, is Myron an American? I think you can be an American citizen, but I think like that people like us, heritage Americans, even me, I'm like a 5th or 4th generation immigrant. So I'm,
I would push it out to about 4 generations.
4 generations.
Somebody asked that in the comments earlier. I would push it to about 4 generations.
But I think like definitely you get more privileges as the generations go on. You know what I mean?
I think that would just align with assimilation, if you will. I don't think first generation can assimilate completely. I don't think immigrants can assimilate completely. First generation, second generation, it depends. I believe Myron would probably agree with me on this. He is a first generation. So I didn't push him. I didn't ask him about it. I probably should have, again, like I said. Danny said, I'm a Zionist, just putting that out there. Stick around. Maybe we'll change your mind. We'll fix you, dude. It's okay to be wrong. We're only right opinions on this screen, except for Josh. Sometimes he's wrong too. So
I'm correct all the time. We all know this.
What kind of Zionist? Yeah, I guess that's a valid question.
That's
too.
a good question.
What
Are
kind
you
of
Jewish,
Zionist?
Danny? Your profile picture is very odd, and I'm not sure what to make of it.
Or maybe here on a student visa, you guys can't criticize Israel. If you do, there's a chance that ICE might show up and arrest you, and that's absolutely crazy to me, right? We're expending resources going after people that are legally here on their political views versus if they had criticized Donald Trump, we wouldn't care. So that should show the enormous amount of influence they have. But yes, they've controlled conservative media for a very long time, and it's good to see that people on the right wing are finally starting to wake up and realize this, whether it's myself or Candace Owens.
Yeah, Myron is You can call him anti-Semitic if you will. Born Muslim, yes. Sudanese, technically.
I would say that statement is actually correct, probably given this person's presumed definition of anti-Semitism, which is
we're waking up.
Not a supporter of Israel.
I would agree.
Or Zionism in general.
I mean, I would agree, but I think he would agree with this that those words don't mean anything to any of us anymore.
Carol, a lot of prominent voices out there. But I think identifying, just talking about it in itself.
We keep stopping, but I do like engaging with the chat. I mean, we're not on any timeline here, so stick around. Throw something in the chat if you want to kind of discuss something. This is his definition of Zionism. I do believe Israel has a right to exist. I have no issue with that at all. Our issue comes with funding them upwards of 5.8, 6, 7, 8, 9, $10 billion a year of taxpayer money that essentially goes to bombing the Middle East or killing and destroying Christian countries, call it Palestinian, Gaza, Libya, Syria, Iran, Iraq, all of it, up and down since early 50s.
Mm-hmm. Would we also say that a nation would you say that a Western nation is one that stops Christians from celebrating on Easter? Because that's what happened this past Sunday. Would they be considered a Western civilization for that? And as again, I think they have the right to exist too, but they don't have the right for us to front the bill for all of their wars and all of their petty land disputes.
A large issue I have with it also is the same people that are extreme Zionists and advocate for Israel to exist as an ethno-state will then deny that exact same thing to virtually everyone else outside of those that claim to be Jews, as I quote Revelation.
Malarkey's, could you pull his up? He was at the event with us and Myron. He says he's disappointed that Trump is bought by Israel. I know it's a shame.
Everybody's bought by Israel, dude.
And he wasn't the first time around. He even criticized Marco Rubio for being paid by the Adelsons, which are the biggest Republican donors in history. And now it's Miriam. Sheldon Adelson died, but his wife Miriam, she doesn't even have dual citizenship. She is only a citizen of Israel.
And then Trump took their money this go around.
Exactly.
And who is what does Marco Rubio do? Secretary of State? I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what Mark Rubio does. He sits in the chair and he pouts when JD Vance starts yelling at people. I get that. Yeah, Danny. Awesome, dude. Everyone is bought by them. Parentheses. Do you believe in National Socialism? I would prefer fascism in reference to 1400s Great Britain and the colonization that came with that, but and Christendom in itself, which is the foundation of the West or America. But if you want to call it National Socialism, then we can accept that definition also.
But it's not. But what we're advocating for is not National Socialism. Clearly, they're trying to be snide and saying, "Are you a Nazi?" I think that's what they're trying to say.
I mean, maybe they are.
I'm not a national. I don't think either of us are National Socialists.
Because
we're not socialists, but we are nationalists.
Yeah, I'm a nationalist. I'm a Christian nationalist as defined by Stephen Wolf's book, though I wouldn't consider myself necessarily a Nazi, but I would be in the realm of a fascist idealist.
Self is doing quite a bit because now they're scrambling. They're going crazy, right? You got people like Doug Murray showed up on the Joe Rogan podcast trying to tell him, well, you need to watch who you bring as a guest. Have you ever been there? Right? Like all this bullshit. So they're trying to definitely do damage control, but I think the genie's out the bottle, man. People are starting to wake up, and people are figuring out with JFK, people are figuring out with the USS Liberty, people are figuring out with 9/11, the links, and people are asking these questions that historically would get you banned. So, and then you got people like Hassan Piker, who's on the far left, right, agreeing with guys like me, who you might consider me on the far right. And I think, and this is the only time I've ever seen people on the far left and on the far right actually agree on something, and it's on this Israel topic. So I think more people are waking up, and it's great, man, because I will tell you, prior to October 7th, if you talked about this, bro, cooked. You'd be banned. And you know this being in conservative media, right? Like, you just get blacklisted. So it's good to see that people are waking up, and we can at least have this discussion now, finally.
So I asked him that question in Penn State, was kind of chat was asking, hey, asking about the Jews. So I kind of tossed that to him, how long he thinks it'll take for this mass awakening to happen. And he basically said somewhat similar to what he just said just then. I think it's happening soon. It's happening fast, faster than anybody can really do anything about it, which is why I think you are seeing a lot of scrambling across everything from politics to social media. But X and Rumble are kind of let the gates open on that aspect a little bit. Obviously, there's some suppression, but if they really wanted it to, they would just pine sap everyone, where they just mass blocked anybody affiliated with a specific group or account. But they're not doing that. Obviously, I don't think they should have, but I guess I don't know the back end. But it's being essentially allowed to happen with a minor pushback. Josh, you think that's a good enough assessment?
Yeah, I think so. I think though, well, we don't need to get too into the debate over what's going to be easier for the masses to swallow, the JQ or the race IQ debate. But I definitely think, like, because you're seeing criticism of Israel for different reasons happening on the left and the right.
Right, for different reasons, but the same outcome is going to happen. Or they're at least looking for the same outcome regardless. The same one that's happened 109 times.
No worries, man.
Oh, we got next.
It's pathetic, to be honest with you.
I think he was talking about you, Josh. You're pathetic.
I was going to say, it sounded like out of context.
Yeah, no,
that's what it sounds
it's a problem,
like.
dude, because it infringes on our First Amendment, right? So, like, you know, and it's funny, too, because Donald Trump is a victim of censorship. If you guys remember, after January 6th, they banned him everywhere. And then on his first day in, when he signed that executive order, it was an executive order actually to prevent the government from colluding with social media companies to
Thank you all for
suppress free
joining
speech
us,
of
by
US
the way,
citizens.
and
So I was
engaging
like, yeah,
in the
this is
comments
awesome. And
section.
then I see him,
It
like,
really
sign
helps
this
us out. We really
anti-Semitism
like
bill.
to hear from you
The
guys.
thing that concerns me the most about this anti-Semitism bill, for those that are unaware, and any of you guys that are here that are like college students that are like, you know, visa holders or whatever, like, I don't want you guys getting deported, so obviously be very careful about sharing these things, these views. But the anti-Semitism bill is based on the definition of anti-Semitism. Well, what is the definition of anti-Semitism? Well, it's an ever-changing definition based on the International Holocaust Remembrance Association, or IHRA. And if you go to the website, it literally says working definition, which means they can change it at any time. And the reason why that's problematic is because that's the root term for these anti-Semitism laws. So, you know, they can literally change it to whatever they need to fit their political agenda. So I think pretty soon, if they haven't already, I think they might have already done this, like being critical of Zionism or Israel is going to be considered anti-Semitic. So that's kind of where we're going, man. You know, they're infringing on our First Amendment rights for a foreign nation, which is wild. But I think the more awareness we bring on this and we talk about it, and, you know, we tell our politicians that this is unacceptable, that's our best weapon, is uniting and using our speech to criticize it.
Yeah, he made this point that they outsource the definition of anti-Semitism. So if we're putting something in the law and then we say a word inside of quotes that says anti-Semitism is banned, essentially, it isn't registered under free speech, then you outsource the definition of that thing, and that thing, even under the definition itself, says it's an ever-changing definition. It can be whatever it wants to be. This is a major issue.
Yeah, it's a huge problem, and it's one of those things, because like the Douglas Murray and Dave Smith debate on Joe Rogan. Have you been there? Yeah, on Joe Rogan. That was clear, and I don't know if you've heard this take. Maybe you agree, but like Nick says, it's like astroturfed. Like, this debate was allowed basically as a way to get, like, they've acknowledged they can't avoid the debate anymore, so now they're trying to control it.
Yeah. Control.
With that in mind, I think it's crazy that they went ahead with these deportations of like Muslim immigrants that are, or Muslim immigrant college students that are supportive of Israel. That is insane. I agree. I agree. No. I know what you're about to say, and I totally agree. But that is insanely unoptical for their position. And I think go ahead.
Well, they can't help themselves.
I know.
I don't necessarily disagree with the deportation of the people themselves. I disagree with the principle of it.
Yeah. I'm okay with rounding people up and just getting them out of here because we want to.
Send them back.
Send them back. It's the reason that they are doing it.
That's right. It's the principle behind it. And they can't help themselves.
And it's so funny because literally they could get away with it too if they were doing it to other people. If it was like, okay, we're going to allow basically this roundup of illegal immigrants and we're going to sneak out the pro-Palestinians as well. They're not even letting that happen.
Yeah. They could just deport like a couple million people and take everybody they want with them and everybody would be happy. But instead we're getting no real deportations, and then they're virtue signaling and sending out the singles that they want gone. Danny, is this the SMP that has a female leading it? If I remember correctly, the ties to NS that is in Scotland, I think is extremely loose and would never be advocated for.
And that's like here in America, people say, oh, did you know that the Democrats founded the KKK, or the Democrats were the bad guys in the Civil War? It's like all those people are dead, dude. It's not the same. Just because it has the same name would you say the Democrat Party of the 1860s looks anything like it does today?
Josh, you know who founded the KKK?
Me? No,
that dude behind you.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, he founded the KKK.
I didn't know that.
I guess real briefly, I mean, since you brought it up, I knew it was going to do that. We'll get back to it. But real briefly, just like anything else, things evolve, and the KKK is one of those. It was founded.
I'm clipping that, by the way, for our debate.
It was founded. It was founded to do what it ended up. It was founded to do the opposite of what it ended up doing. Right. It was to kind of preserve Southern heritage, but in the end, it was kind of usurped, psyoped, if you will, into a position where it probably did things it probably shouldn't have done. And now we have to live with a blanket statement that everything is bad, especially Southerners. Let's see, where we at? Josh, say words. Be a host. No, just kidding.
Nigel is too weak. Y'all need Scroker men. Are you trying to say y'all need stronger men, or is Scroker I'm not familiar with Scottish
stronger.
politics.
I think stronger men.
That's what I thought too. But then it was like, at first, okay, because I thought it said man, so I thought he was saying y'all need Scroker man. I thought maybe
Josh,
that was a Scottish person. Get out of the way. What? You need to switch our side, because like when I look at the screen, it looks like I'm looking off camera.
You'll be all right. What was this guy talking
you
about?
You want to be in the
women in
good
bathrooms.
spot.
That was pretty obvious. You can date, but focus on bread. Correct. We already talked about him, dude. That crash out was crazy. Somebody said he was.
A lot of people said he was a plant.
He's a plant. I mean, we were there. I don't think he was a plant. I think it was genuine. He's got the tisms. You know? Some people just need a little bit of help, brother. He named Nick, so obviously he watches Nick.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Nick watches us. I don't know. Give him a little word of encouragement. No, just kidding. But
definitely not.
You know, some people like, you know,
yeah, he had a
I know I
crash
watch
out.
Nick, you know, like Jason Whitlock, you know, he had that thing with Jason Whitlock where Jason Whitlock says, oh, well, you know, if they're just Christian, man, then, you know, things would be different. But then you look at countries like the Democratic Republic of Congo. That country's 95% Catholic, roughly.
Turning point.
Let's go here.
Well, they're scared of discourse. They're scared of discourse. The reality is simply this. Support of Israel is an indefensible position. I was streaming the other day, and I showed a clip from President Nixon where
the
he was
cops were
asked in
watching
an interview
him.
back in the 90s, 1992, you know, hey, why do we support Israel? In your book, you admitted that there's not really much strategic value in supporting Israel, and he basically said for moral reasons, right? And I was like, oh, moral reasons? You mean more like blackmail and the fact that they own our politicians? But that's kind of what it comes down to. There is no strategic benefit to supporting Israel.
Yeah, because then
so
it looks
people
like
like
I'm
Ben
looking at
Shapiro,
him.
Charlie Kirk, etc., these hardcore Zionists, they don't want to have that discussion because it's really an indefensible position. There's no reason why we support
Josh,
them
that's
the way
you.
that we do. They've created more problems for us
Sir.
than good.
No, he attracts
I think
that
anyone with
type.
eyes can see that. The Iraq War,
Nick Fuentes
all of our
definitely
wars in the
attracts
Middle East
that
in
type.
general, it's been because of Israel. That's why those guys were dancing.
On that topic,
because they knew when those towers were.
I kind of brought this up when I had to sit down. If anybody wants to go check that out, again, appreciate y'all for listening. It's a recent video that I uploaded on my channel. I had a chance to sit down with him. We covered a lot of topics in 15, 20 minutes. Thankful for the opportunity for sure. Nick attracts those kind of people, but I think in general, people, especially young men, are just looking for something to hold on to.
Yes.
They want somebody to follow. We are a people that look for leaders. We want leaders. This is why I reject democracy. There's no true leadership in democracy because there is no real hierarchy, right? Everything is flat. Even at the top is flat. Like the president has no true power unless it's given to him by Congress. Yes, he can do things, but it's only in effect until he's gone. So again, Nick attracts those people. Myron attracts a specific type of people. I was with him at Penn State, with him at USC, and on both events. And there's an obvious attraction that he has with certain types of people. Not that it's a good thing or a bad thing. It just is what it is. And they understand this. At least Myron, I know, does. He knows what his audience is, and he kind of caters to him a little bit, which... Why shouldn't he?
The thing that's great about Myron is he's like a Trojan horse for our ideas, because the allure of him is that he's a womanizer and that he puts these retarded bitches in their place. That, on the Fresh and Fit podcast, he's just like dismantles these
Dude, I've never watched the Fresh and Fit podcast. Dude, I watched a couple episodes last night. Not a couple episodes, but I guess a few minutes. It's brutal, dude.
He's super
they're
funny.
Crazy. I don't know how he does it, man. It seems exhausting.
Yeah. Like the last time I saw one of his things, he did not have gray hair. He's clearly got gray hair here.
I wouldn't be able to do it for that long.
Oh no, doing it for years, every other day, maybe every day, it would kill me, dude. And I think he attracts these types. A lot of the guys, not all of them, but some of the guys that were actually at the paid dinner, they were clearly like they were in it for the womanizing thing, but with that, he slips in the idea. Like if you were to get up on stage and call that girl Shaniqua and say enjoy your fried chicken and Kool-Aid like he did, you don't see it in this. They'd kill you. Even some of the guys that agree with him would never agree with you saying those things. But that's why he's useful, because he kind of cushions the ideas.
Right. Well, he has a natural shield to any accusations
of racism.
Yeah. And racism essentially.
We're going to go ahead and take out all their adversaries in the Middle East. And if you look at it now, you look back at the clean break memo that was written back in the 90s by Jewish neocons who were U.S. citizens for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. All those countries that were mentioned in the clean break memo, we've either destabilized or paid off, right? Jordan and Egypt are cucked. We pay them a lot of money to play nice with Israel. Other countries, we've toppled their...
Yeah, I mean, the CIA, he's talking about the clean break memo. We've had a lot of reports come out since then that have just kind of fueled this conspiracy theory into truth that the CIA is running coups for the sake of running coups so we can destabilize the Middle East and get the oil, and it's all for one specific country in the Middle East that isn't Middle Eastern, and neither is it Western.
Their governments or done some type of operation or coup, and all that's left now is Iran, and that's who we're currently negotiating with now. And I think we're in a very sensitive time where if we don't negotiate these, if we don't go through this properly, we can find ourselves in a World War III. And we're going to win, obviously. Iran can't stand up to us, but it's going to be very costly and very painful for us economically, right? Iran is in a very strategic position where they can really hurt us economically, whether it's their missile system, which is very advanced, their air defense, which is very advanced, their drone program. They absolutely have, all of our allies, Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. They can destroy their oil fields and their strategic points.
Yeah, Malarkey says, I was feeling uncomfortable about all the anti-man rhetoric that I had to shut up about. I'm assuming we're talking about pre-COVID, Me Too movement type era. Then I find Myron, then people shame me for listening to him. Brother, you are the top of the hierarchy, at least with respect to gender. If you're a man, you're going to be shamed because that's just how it is. I guess it doesn't matter. I think we're at a point, and Myron said this also, is that we're chasing after truth now, and words don't mean anything because we're already past that. They've already used up all their bad word cards on us. So try to chase after what you believe to be true, and try to follow that to make sure it is, and then continue on to the next whatever you believe to be true.
Like $11 if we go to war. Just off of that alone, they shut down the Strait of Hormuz. So there's some really serious consequences of us going to war with Iran. But that's what Israel wants. They want us to go in there and knock out their nuclear capabilities.
He was solid, dude.
And then I want to let some people ask more questions, but one quick question on women.
Sure.
So when it comes to dating, I'm 22. I ascribe to the notion that I think you should make yourself as a man before you maybe find your wife, like put yourself in a good position. Sure. But there's also the fact that like once I get to that position, I want to understand kind of women and the language of like women. So I'm dating now as well to kind of learn that.
Let's get to.
Would you recommend doing that? Comment. Like, how do you balance that as your?
I don't remember when that was. I think it was at the end. Wasn't it?
No. It was like it was before the crash out.
Was it?
I think. Yeah, some of those guys were like what do you think of that dude's poem?
The poem? He was nervous, man.
His voice was shaking, which was crazy because he was like 9 feet tall.
He was a big dude.
Must stay maintained within his masculine frame.
I'm gonna rewind it. We'll listen to his poem.
Into your frame. A cheat slaying soldier
always. If I can get to the beginning of it.
Where one income can support a household, and we had the nuclear family, and we had the 2 kids, and the white picket fence, etc. It's going to be the men that are going to need to do that. It's not going to be the women. So I think the guys need to step up and lead the change.
Yes, sir. And sure, I got something for the fellas.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're getting money, you shall become every single girl's type. But if you're acting like a simp, she will never let you pipe. If you treat your girl like a queen, she will get bored and go swallow another man's cream. And the most important, the most important part of the game is to have her into your frame. A cheat slaying soldier always must stay maintained within his masculine frame, which is to keep your girl tame, and her guts you shall rearrange.
Okay, I like it, man.
It was a poem.
The poet in the house.
Apparently, he does. He writes a lot of poems. So
it's like the thing there at the bottom.
Cam
says
two times. I guess that's
my time.
Must be somebody.
Yep. Well, I didn't want to low pressure.
This
guy
was
here.
the dude. I had no idea what he was
I just
talking
wanted to show
about.
just straight love.
He was talking,
man. Yeah,
he was talking that morning too. I don't know what he was talking about, man. I wish I could find Shaniqua comment. You said it was before crash out?
I think so. I honestly don't know.
It'd be all right. But yeah, dude, he told him, he said, what did he say? Well, I'll talk about fried chicken and watermelon here in a little bit, and called her Shaniqua. It was hilarious. Which, yeah, he obviously has a little bit of a shield when it comes to that type of rhetoric. Josh, I had a good time.
Yeah. I'll be honest, dude. We need to do more reaction content because I think we were getting some people saying that this showed up in their feed or whatever.
Let's do it, dude.
So I think reacting to that's going to help us definitely. And it was more fun. I mean, we went 2.5 hours. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like we've been on here we usually go like an hour and a half. This feels kind of like that.
Let's do it, dude.
I'm
hey,
down,
W
man.
Stream,
We gotta
appreciate
find
it,
some
dude.
clips.
Everyone that's new, I know we got a few new people in here. Go ahead and click subscribe. Give us a like, dude. We just starting out. We've been doing this about 2 months now. We're gonna be sticking with it. We got a lot coming. I'll up my production side. Mr. Ninja, giving me a hard time. We'll up the production. It takes time, brother. It takes time, money, patience. I don't have any patience.
And for those of y'all watching who just got here, Ghost666 says yes in my feed and subscribed. We have 2 channels. I'd assume you're watching on Zeb Boykin because he's got a lot of traction from other channels. Go to mine. It's Joshua Vandernord, Vandernoord. We stream to both those places and on Zeb, or is it your Twitter or my Twitter?
I think it's your Twitter. I need to start streaming to my Twitter too.
It's usually my Twitter. I think we did on yours today, but we got the show streams to both, but we have different clips and other content. Like I'm working on a solo show to do soon, so go to both channels, Zeb Boykin and Josh Vandernord.
Yeah, I guess just to close this out, man. Again, Myron, extremely charitable. I met a few of these guys at the top, if you will, of the pyramid and manosphere conservative media. He's extremely charitable. Nothing really bad to say about him. Obviously, I disagree with him on some things, and I'm going to. This is Josh's channel that I'm about to throw in the chat. Go check him out, and then I'm going to put in here on this follow-up the video for the sit-down that I had with Myron, so y'all can get to it really easily. Hopefully, a link works in here. I don't even know how this thing works, but we're gonna do that. Actually picked up a couple of subscribers. Appreciate that for sure. A Jordan Peterson video just popped up on my feed when I'm trying to find the video. Dude, Jordan Peterson's crash out was crazy too. Have you seen that?
Yeah,
he called all of us psychos, dude.
Oh yeah.
What an idiot.
What does he say? Like the bloody psychopaths, or that sounds like Scottish or something. But if I can make myself cry, I'd do a flawless Jordan Peterson. Yeah, he's nuts, dude. What happened to him, man?
What happened to him? I'll tell you exactly what happened to him. He got addicted to benzos, and then they were trying like for a year. He went
since becoming famous.
Yeah. He went AWOL for like 2 years. You don't remember that? They were still putting out content, but it was slow. And so anyway, he had this benzo crash out for a few months, and then he ended up in Russia for a rehab in Russia, and yeah, I don't know, dude. When he came back, he wasn't the same. It wasn't even close to the same person.
I remember what it was. I was watching Nick's show today, and someone in the comments said that they MK Ultra'd him. And I think, that's like something people say, but damn, I think, they actually may have. That's crazy. Someone shave his head and see if there's like electrodes.
See if there's electrodes.
Meth. Danny says meth. It's good stuff. No.
Why is that not showing up? Let me send it this way. How about that? Oh, there it goes. Yeah, okay, so there's a link. If you want to find it, just go to the channel. It should be the first video on there.
Ghost. I don't think he's faking it. I think he's genuinely that way. I think he's just a crybaby.
So there's two options to this Jordan Peterson thing. One is he's bought out, which is probably true. Both of these can be true at the same time. And also he has benzo brain. It's just fried. Right, he's not the same person that he used to be. That's obvious. And then also on top of that, Daily Wire probably paid him some extreme amount of money when he came back off of the rehab that he had, and he just hasn't been able to produce since then because he's not the same person.
100%.
Also, I think he's had a hair transplant, or either he's just a clone. I don't know. We can go down that conspiracy theory too. But the Russians red ruined him. Yeah, dude. Well, he went, from what I can tell, he went to a few different rehab centers and none of them worked. And so he ended up in Russia for like 6 months or something. Like, why do you have to go to Russia to rehab? Is it that bad? Like,
what the hell are they doing in Russia that they're not doing here?
I guess they put him on lockdown, dude. Lockdown, a little bit of MK Ultra Light.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, again,
they've got him in like the ball dome, in Las Vegas, but it's like the inside of it is a screen too, and they're just blasting him with like propaganda for 100 hours straight.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate the comments. If anybody wants to stop by, again, we are live Wednesday, Thursday, Friday around 2:30. Go check out some of the other videos I've done. Some of them good, some of them not so much, but appreciate everybody stopping by. Shout out to Myron, Fresh and Fit, dude. Good guys. Shout out to Uncensored America. Go check them out too if y'all haven't. They got a lot of stuff in the works. They're working with colleges, trying to do this Charlie Kirk type thing from a different angle, which we need a little bit of variety for sure.
Definitely. And thank you guys for participating. It was a great show. We really enjoyed it. Y'all being in the comments, got over 100 viewers. Very excited. Thanks, guys.
All right, boys. This is outside the Overton because we push the Overton window, Josh, as much as we can.
Hell yeah.